Hey there, want to make your voice heard at a Board of Supervisors meeting? We're all ears. Here's how you can get involved. First, hop online and look at the agendas. This will give you the scoop on what's coming up before the board. Each agenda item includes a brief description of the issue, the recommendations, and potential impacts. If you need more detail, check out the detailed reports online. Those are called board letters. Then, decide if you want to speak at Tuesday's general legislative session or Wednesday's land use session. You'll have 3 opportunities to have your say. Let's start with non-agenda public comment. This is your chance to talk about things that aren't on the agenda, but try and keep your topic related to county government. For non-agenda public comments, you can speak at either the Tuesday or Wednesday session, but not both. So pick your day accordingly. And keep in mind, the board can't act on the spot. They'll refer your comments to the Chief Administrative Officer, who will look into the issue. Last thing, the board will hear from the first 10 speakers, 5 in person and 5 by phone at the beginning of the session. Then all the remaining speakers will get their chance to speak after the discussion items. During the consent agenda, the board handles a bunch of routine items with 1 vote. If you want to comment on an item, keep it simple. For example, I'm John Doe speaking on item 5, and I agree with approving the contract. Discussion items are the main event where the board debates before making a decision. Want to speak at one of the meetings? It's really easy. Just hop online and fill out a quick request form at publiccomment.sandiegocounty.gov. Pick the meeting you're interested in, hit the register button, then fill in your details. Make sure to include a phone number if you plan on speaking by phone. Prefer speaking at the podium in the board chamber? No problem. Just pick the in-person option. After that, just check off the agenda items you want to talk about and let them know you're for, against, or neutral on them. Hit register and you're good to go. A confirmation email will land in your inbox to wrap it up. If you're speaking by phone, the email will include the instructions for how to dial in. Be sure to submit your request early. Once public comment begins on the agenda item, we can't take any more requests to speak. And if you have documents, hand them to the deputy clerk when it's your turn to speak at the podium. Now, you get 2 minutes to speak, but if lots of people want to talk, it might get cut to 1 minute. So, you might want to consider writing 2 sets of comments, one for 2 minutes, another one for 1. That way, if time's cut, you won't be scrambling. There's also a countdown clock at the podium to keep you on track. Once you're at the podium, stay on topic. Stick to the current agenda item. If you stray off topic, you might get a gentle nudge to get back to the point. Keep your comments related to the agenda item's recommendations because that's what the board is relying on to make a decision. Also, speak directly to the board. They're the ones making the decision. When your time's up, it's up. Overstaying might mean getting muted or even asked to leave. Now for some ground rules. For safety, keep aisles and doorways clear. If there isn't a seat, head across the hall to room 302 or the 4th floor balcony to watch the meeting. Respect is huge. Everyone should feel heard. That means you, other speakers, and the Board of Supervisors. Disruptive behavior gets 1 warning, and after that, a deputy sheriff might show you the door. So let's keep it respectful. Your voice matters, and we want to hear from you. Remember, we're all here to make a difference. Hey there, want to make your voice heard at a Board of Supervisors meeting?
Good morning. I now call the December 9, 2025 San Diego County Board of Supervisors, excuse me, regular meeting, Fire Protection District and In-Home Supportive Services Public Authority meeting to order. We would like to take a moment to acknowledge the land we call home. There are communities in the San Diego region that face unjust conditions and circumstances related to the environments in which they live. The tribal nations of the San Diego region are an example of one community that has historically faced such injustices. We acknowledge the harmony that existed between the land, nature, and its original peoples who have since endured displacement, persecution, and systemic oppression. We pay our respect to the unceded territory and homelands of the 18 tribal nations in our region, the most in any county in the United States, from 4 cultural groups: the Kumeyaay Digueño, the Luiseño, the Cupeño, and the Kaiwea. We aspire to learn from Indigenous traditional knowledge and experiences in undoing the injustices of the past. Andrew, please call the roll for today's session.
Thank you, Chair Lawson-Remer. Supervisor Anderson.
Here.
Supervisor Desmond.
Here.
Chair Pro Tem Aguirre.
Here.
Vice Chair Montgomery Stepp.
Here.
Chair Lawson-Remer.
Here. Okay. We will now have Most Reverend Raymond Bejarano of the Diocese of San Diego deliver the invocation, and Anika Talavera, who will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand.
Thank you. Gracious and loving God, creator of heavens and earth, I thank you for a new day of life and opportunities. I lift to you this invocation together with those who are here and those who are also joining us through the live stream. I know that you are good. Give us, therefore, your blessings. Bless our County Board of Supervisors with wisdom, understanding, and a clear vision as they make decisions that should serve the common good of all citizens. Bless our nation and all nations with peace and prosperity. Bless the local organizations, for-profit and non-profit, who make a difference in the lives of other people. Especially, I pray for those who care for the lonely, the hungry, the immigrant, and those with special needs. Safeguard our healthcare professionals as they take care of the infirm and help us to have a healthy life. Bless and guide our first responders and law enforcement, deliver them from any harm. Bless and protect those serving in the military, here at home and overseas, and their families who hope to see them soon. Bless our teachers and students in our schools, colleges, and universities as they finish this semester and begin their finals. Bless us with good health, with good jobs. Bless the rich cultural diversity of San Diego and the tourists who come to visit. Bless our farmers and farmlands. Bless our families with harmony, joy, and peace as we celebrate these days our faith traditions. Keep safe our neighborhoods, schools, and streets. And I pray all this in your holy name. Amen.
Amen.
Please put your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We now proceed with the proclamations. The first proclamation will be given by myself, honoring the Coronado High School Stop the Sewage Club. Accepting the proclamation will be Laura Wilkinson and Sean Wilbur.
Thank you so much.
Welcome. Congratulations, you guys. Thank you so much. Thank you for everything.
Thank you.
So good to see
for your
you.
work.
Good morning, everyone. I'm excited to be here honoring a group of students who have done something simple but rare. They saw a problem in their community and stepped up. The Coronado High School Stop the Sewage Club has become one of their clearest voices for action on the Tijuana sewage crisis. and they built that voice from the ground up. Since forming in 2023, more than 70 students have built this club into a place where their classmates can learn what's happening with the Tijuana River, talk about how it's affecting their daily lives, and figure out how to take action together. They saw a problem right in their backyard and did not wait for someone else to fix it. They've already made an impact, gathering over 400 signatures on a petition that helped push the Coronado City Council to declare a state of emergency. They delivered 448 letters to Sacramento. These are real stories from our community to make sure state leaders understand what this crisis feels like on the ground. And they show up again and again, peaceful beach protests, student-led protests at the Coastal Commission, and leading a Heal Our Coast educational march. The district named them Student Club of the Year in both 2024 and 2025. And honestly, once you meet them, it's easy to see why. They're thoughtful, persistent, and they care deeply about our community. So today, on behalf of the San Diego County Board of Supervisors, we're here to honor their work and the example they're setting for all of us. So now, therefore, be it proclaimed by myself and all the members of the San Diego County Board of Supervisors on this 9th day of December 2025 that we commend the Coronado High School Stop the Sewage Club for their outstanding service, leadership, and commitment to the citizens of San Diego County, and do hereby declare this day to be Coronado High School Stop the Sewage Club Day throughout San Diego County.
We are so thankful to be receiving this proclamation as a testament to students like us standing up for what we believe in. Whether defending our beaches from litter, trash, oil, or sewage, the Coronado High School Stop the Sewage Club has spent the last 3 years building up a group of over 75 students to learn about advocacy and the inner workings of our government. I believe I can speak on behalf of all youth in South Bay communities when I thank all 5 supervisors for your collective work in continuing to clean up miles of coastline, which some of them have been in peril for many, many years, sometimes decades. But we also need more. We need more funding, we need more noise, and we need more of your leadership to solve this crisis. Oil drilling is just the newest threat which has stood between us and a clean beach, but it is not the first. We have seen your strong leadership protecting us from other threats to our watershed, and we expect you to continue this effort against oil drilling in our waters. Students and families expect and deserve clean and safe beaches. We demand that oil drilling stays far, far away from San Diego and our waters. Thank you so much on behalf of the Coronado High School Stop the Sewage Club.
Where do you want us, in front? Okay, thank you. Let's go in the middle. Thank you, congratulations, and good work on everything you've been doing.
Thank you all so much.
Good work on everything. The second proclamation will be given by myself and Chair Pro Tem Aguirre, honoring Pause abilities. Accepting the proclamation will be Michael Donovan. Come up. Come up, come up, come up. Yeah, just join us, join us. Chair Pro Tem Aguirre, go ahead.
Good morning. I am honored to be giving this proclamation in partnership with Chair Tara Lawson-Remer, recognizing an organization that has meant so much to so many in San Diego, Possibilities, an important resource created by and for the HIV-positive community, providing social and educational support in the region. Since becoming a nonprofit in 2015, Possibilities has been run entirely by volunteers from the HIV/AIDS community. That alone speaks to their identity and their purpose. Their programs are created by the community, for the community, with a mission rooted in dignity to end stigma, isolation, and discrimination for people living with HIV. Possibilities provides far more than support. They offer accurate and empowering information, referrals, and meaningful spaces for dialogue that strengthen individuals and help them make informed choices about their health and their lives. Their Healthy Living program is a powerful example, recognizing how nutrition, movement, and wellness can dramatically improve the quality of life for people aging with HIV. They also collaborate with other community partners to provide inclusive drug and alcohol-free activities where HIV-positive individuals can connect, feel supported, and simply be themselves. And what truly sets Possibilities apart is that everything they do, every service, every event, every program is powered entirely by volunteers and community generosity. Because of this dedication, every dollar goes directly towards uplifting and supporting people living with HIV. That kind of commitment is rare and deeply deserving of recognition. To everyone who gives their time, their heart, and their expertise to this work, thank you. Your impact makes our county stronger, healthier, and more connected. Now I'm going to turn it over to the chair.
Thank you, Chair Pro Tem Aguirre, and thank you to everyone with Possibilities. Hearing your work laid out just now makes it clear how much our community relies on you. What I want to lift up is something straightforward. Possibilities was built by people living with HIV who chose to look out for one another when our systems failed. That honesty and self-determination are what makes this organization so vital. And we're at a moment when this work is getting harder every single day. The Trump administration is removing HIV/AIDS information from federal websites, pushing cuts to research and prevention, and sidelining public health experts when clarity and science are essential. Their decisions, the decisions of the Trump administration, are making the work of groups like Possibilities even more critical because the community, our community, cannot wait for Washington to get its act together. So what you've done, what you continue to do, building support networks, building trust, creating spaces where people can show up without stigma, this is public health. This is leadership, and this deserves to be recognized. So today, we're not just thanking you for what you've built, we're standing with you in the work ahead, making sure people get the care, information, and support they need to live full, healthy lives. So now, therefore, be it proclaimed by myself and all the members of the San Diego County Board of Supervisors on this 9th day of December 2025, that we commend Possibilities for the outstanding service, leadership, and commitment to the citizens of San Diego County, and do hereby declare this day to be Possibilities Day throughout San Diego County.
Thank you very much. It means a lot to an all-volunteer organization to be recognized by the members of our community. So Supervisor Aguirre, Supervisor Lawson-Remer, we thank you very much, as well as the rest of the Board of Supervisors. I have with me Jerry Turner and Jen Lothridge from our board. My name is Michael Donovan. I'm the Managing Director. It's hard to realize that 40 years into this epidemic, there is still the amount of stigma and isolation. And we're fighting not only the stigma of the disease itself, but the fact that we're now, thankfully, aging with HIV, which brings a whole new set of challenges to the community. So once again, I'd like to thank all of the members of the community who participate, all of the organizations who support us, and once again, the Board of Supervisors for recognizing the work that we do. Thank you.
The third proclamation will be given by Chair Pro Tem Aguirre honoring the San Diego Organizing Project. Accepting the proclamation will be Denora Reyna. Denora?
Yeah, you all can come on up. I don't mind. The more the better. All right, let me get started here. I'll get started. December 10th is International Human Rights Day, marking the United Nations 1948 adoption of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. The UDHR affirms that all human beings are born free and equal in dignity and rights, and that these rights belong to every person everywhere without exception. In honor of the 77 years of this historic and transformative declaration, I am truly honored to be here to recognize the San Diego Organizing Project, an organization that has inspired me personally with its unwavering dedication to justice, equity, and community. Seeing the impact of SDOP's work firsthand reminds me of the power of people coming together to advance the fundamental human rights that the UDHR envisions: the right to safety, to dignity, to voice, to opportunity, and to a life free from discrimination. I'm proud to celebrate the decades of work they've done to lift up communities and amplify the voices of those who are too often overlooked. The San Diego Organizing Project, or SDOP, is a remarkable, nonpartisan, multi-faith network of congregations representing more than 30,000 families across San Diego County. They're one of the most diverse grassroots organizations in our region, bridging racial, cultural, and economic divides and demonstrating what becomes possible when communities unite with vision and purpose. Since 1979, SDOP has trained and empowered people of faith to build power in their communities. Through leadership development, community education, civic engagement, and advocacy, they have organized families to advance racial and economic justice. Work that directly reflects the UDHR's call for equal rights, freedom from oppression, and the full participation of all people in public life. But SDOP's work is about more than policy. It is about affirming the inherent dignity and worth of every person. Core principles shown through Fe en Acción across congregations and actions with faith leaders in our district and the region. It is about giving individuals the tools, confidence, and support needed to create lasting systemic change. And at the heart of everything SDOP does are the fundamental values that underpin human rights: equality, justice, compassion, and the belief that every individual deserves to live free from fear with the opportunity to thrive. Their mission reflects the vision of a world where all people, regardless of race, faith, or economic status, are treated with fairness, respect, humanity, and dignity. So with that said, I am proud to formally recognize San Diego Organizing Project. Therefore, be it proclaimed by Chair Lawson Reamer and all members of the San Diego County Board of Supervisors on this 9th day of December 2025 that we commend the San Diego Organizing Project for their outstanding service, leadership, and steadfast commitment to protecting and advancing the human rights of the residents of San Diego County, and do hereby declare this day to be San Diego Organizing Project Day through San Diego County. And to every single one of you, thank you so much for being here today, for your courage, for your dedication, and for your commitment to uplifting every single voice in our community. Thank you. And with that, I'm going to turn it over for a few words.
Thank you, Supervisor Aguirre. Muchas gracias. Hoy es el día de Eva y de Minerva y de Deborah y Maricruz. As you can see, we don't show up alone. Our work is rooted in our love for people and our belief that all people are created in the image of God. And so that is why we fight for human rights and justice. And I'm trying to be quick because I do want to pass it over to Father Scott Santa Rosa, whose vision and love and belief in human rights and social justice is why we've been able to do what we've done so far. But thank you so much, Supervisor Aguirre.
Thank you, Supervisor Aguirre. We are very grateful to receive this award as a pastor, the pastor of Our Lady of Guadalupe Parish in Logan Heights. Our job is to help people inside the church building to believe in their inherent dignity as God's sons and daughters. But the challenge is that people would believe that outside the church, and that they would be able to actually speak their truth to power, to county boards of supervisor, to city councils, to the mayor, to the governor, to the president. That is the challenge, and SDOP, faith-based community organizing, gives us the skills and abilities, the connections, the tools, the strategies to do so. So we are very grateful to receive this award, to be a part of SDOP, this wonderful group of people in front of you and also still in their work and home today. Thank you, and we are grateful.
Okay, our final proclamation, sorry, not our final, our fourth proclamation will be given by Supervisor Joel Anderson honoring Alzheimer's San Diego's 10th anniversary. Accepting the proclamation will be Eugenia Welch.
Thank you so much. Oh, my pleasure. Good morning, everyone. I'm honored to be here today as we recognize the 10th anniversary of Alzheimer's San Diego. I especially want to thank Eugenia Welch and Carlos Chiquetto for joining us today. Throughout San Diego County, there are over 100,000 people impacted by Alzheimer's disease and other related forms of dementia. Since its founding in 2015, Alzheimer's San Diego has served our region with kindness and dignity, fostering collaboration between healthcare workers, researchers, policymakers, and law enforcement to advance the quality of care, support, and awareness for those affected by dementia. Through education, advocacy, and hands-on support services, Alzheimer's San Diego has improved the quality of life for thousands of individuals and caregivers throughout San Diego County. For these reasons, I'm proud to present this proclamation honoring the 10th anniversary of Alzheimer's San Diego. The proclamation says, "Be it proclaimed by Chair Tara Lawson-Remer and all members of the San Diego County Board of Supervisors on this 9th day of December 2025, that we commend Alzheimer's San Diego for their outstanding service, leadership, and commitment to the citizens of San Diego County. And we here do declare this day, Alzheimer's Day, throughout San Diego County today." So thank you. I didn't know if you wanted to say something. Sure. Yeah, please do. I'm going to present this to you.
Good morning, everyone. On December 3rd, 2015, Alzheimer's San Diego was born from a desire to serve the needs of the San Diego dementia community. We wanted to make sure that the needs of local friends and neighbors were prioritized and that every dollar raised in San Diego County stayed in San Diego to help our own community. In the 10 years that we've served the county, we've seen the number of people diagnosed with dementia increase from 64,000 to over 100,000, and that's only who we know are diagnosed. That means there are about 300,000 people providing unpaid care to those with dementia in our community. Because Alzheimer's San Diego is completely local, we can and do adjust to meet the needs of our community and neighbors from what we hear when they're calling to receive assistance. Someone who contacts Alzheimer's San Diego can feel confident that they are talking to someone who knows their community, knows their neighborhood, and is able to provide reputable information to support them in their journey. We have a vision of a future where all people impacted by Alzheimer's disease and other dementias can live with dignity and respect. We envision a compassionate community that is well-informed and able to support those impacted by dementia. Alzheimer's San Diego provides completely free support to our community, but to caregivers and also those living with dementia themselves. Our programs are designed to provide support through every stage of dementia, and we consider ourselves the boots on the ground helping people in need today. We hope someday that we will no longer exist because there will be a cure for this disease, but until then, we will be here to support our community. We've been grateful to do that for these past 10 years, and we'll be here for as many years as it's necessary. Thank you.
Great job. Are you going to say anything? Take a picture? Yep, let's come in front. Thank you. Keep up the great work.
Okay, and our final proclamation will be given by Supervisor Jim Desmond, honoring National Giving Month with the North County Philanthropy Council. Accepting the proclamation is Neville Villamoria.
Hey, Neville, good to see you. Good morning. Thanks for being here. Thanks for doing this. Yeah. Hi. Nice to meet you. Hey, Ron, thanks for being here. Thank you. Okay, are we all lined up? Okay, good. Hey, good morning, everyone, and welcome to President Neville Villamoria and the North County Philanthropy Council on this fabulous giving team here today. December is an inspiring time of generosity, and as we celebrate National Giving Month, a month dedicated to charitable giving, volunteerism, and acts of kindness that enhance all of our communities. The North County Philanthropy Council, better known as NCPC, brings together nonprofit professionals, board members, volunteers, and corporate philanthropists to strengthen North County. Since its founding in the mid-1980s, by visionary leaders, NCPC has grown to over 250 members, advancing philanthropy and through education, leadership development, and meaningful collaboration across all sectors. So NCPC's enduring mission is to promote and strengthen the philanthropic impact is showcased every year at their annual Community Impact Report, which highlights all the incredible work that's being done in our communities. This includes the 2025 Annual Volunteers Award celebration, honoring selfless volunteers in organizations whose dedication and compassion helps improve our local communities. I have to just off script here just briefly. Organizations like this, you fill in the gaps that government can't always do and don't always see, and you take care of it before it gets to be a bigger problem someplace else. So we really appreciate volunteers like yourselves who step up and are willing, to spread wealth, spread goodness, and to people who need it, particularly in the time of the holidays here. So this year, they proudly recognized over 100 volunteers whose service exemplifies the true spirit of community and philanthropy. North County Philanthropy Council also celebrates the vital role businesses also play in their San Diego Gives campaign. Businesses want to contribute and want to have an outlet or a place they can go to contribute back to the community, and the North County Philanthropy Council is a great opportunity. Through corporate sponsorships and partnerships, companies can demonstrate their commitment to the community, engage diverse audiences, practice social responsibility, and really make a tangible impact on the local nonprofit sector. So on behalf of the county, I want to say thank you to all of your volunteers, your supporters and partners, your generosity and dedication and leadership that makes San Diego stronger every single day. So whereas the County of San Diego, we are proud to recognize and honor organizations that exemplify the highest ideals of public service, and the North County Philanthropy Council is one such worthy organization. So here, Neville, I'm going to have you hold this for a second here before we get up. All right. So now therefore be proclaimed by all the members of the San Diego County Board of Supervisors on this 9th day of December 2025 that we commend North County Philanthropy Council for their outstanding service, leadership, and commitment to the citizens of San Diego County, and do hereby declare December to be National Giving Month with North County Philanthropy Council throughout San Diego County. Let's give them all a hand. Well, you want to hand that off? President, did you want to say a few words?
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you for this great honor. My name is Neville. I happen to be serving as president of North County Philanthropic Council currently. Ron Marcus is one of my board members, and Jim Davis is our executive director. Our birth story is kind of interesting because at the time, NCPC, and there was not much philanthropy in North County. Today, our members cover the entire county. And so we're honored to serve, yes, the public, private, and social sector all working together to make this not just America's finest city, but America's kindest and most purposeful region. We all tend to think about philanthropy as money, but the word definition of philanthropy is love of humanity. Love of humanity. It didn't have money in it anywhere. There's time, there's treasure, there's the money part, there's talent, but there's also ties and testimony. There's 5 T's. So today, this is a testimony of the work we must do together to make our city, our county, our region better. We're grateful for this opportunity. There's much work to be done. E plurius unum suggests we little more unum and not so much plurius. We need pluribus is good. There's a lot of diversity, but we should come together as one. So as we celebrate the holidays, may we all have that spirit of unity, support for one another, and taking care of each other. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Oh, great. Thanks, Trevor. All right, so we're going to get a picture. We're going to come around the front side of this thing.
Okay, thank you so much. Before we begin our meeting, I'd like to take a moment to remind everyone of our house rules. Our county is committed to a work environment free from unlawful discrimination and harassment, including sexual, racial, religious, age, disability, and any other forms of discrimination or harassment. Under the board's rules, speakers may not use loud, shouting, threatening, impertinent, slanderous, profane, and abusive language to any member of the board staff or the general public. Additionally, all remarks and questions must remain on topic during the duration of your speaking time and must be addressed to the board and not to county staff. Any speaker who engages in comments that break these rules will be issued a warning. After one warning, you will be asked to leave the chambers for the remainder of the meeting. Finally, speakers threatening violence may be reported to law enforcement and removed from the meeting. This is a space for community engagement, deliberation, and progress, not for harassment, violence, and hate. We now proceed with non-agenda public communication. This is an opportunity for the public to address the board and subject matters within our board's jurisdiction, but not an item on our meeting agenda today. The only action we may take is a referral to our CAO. Under the board's rules, speakers may speak once per meeting for non-agenda public comment, either today or tomorrow, but not at both sessions. You may select which session to address at your convenience. For non-agenda public comment, we will have 5 speakers in person and 5 speakers by phone at the beginning of the meeting. These will be selected by random drawing. The remainder of non-agenda public comment will be heard at the close of today's session. In accordance with the board's rules, in order to ensure timely completion of today's agenda, for all discussion items with 10 or more speakers, individuals will have 1 minute to share their opinion at the chair's discretion. According to Rule 4A, members of the public that are non-English speaking and need interpretation assistance will receive twice the allotted time for their comments. And a final reminder, audience members shall not whistle, clap, stomp feet, or do anything that disrupts the proceedings. If you disrupt the meeting, you will be given 1 warning, and after that warning, if you disrupt the meeting again, you will be directed to leave the chamber for the remainder of the meeting. Andrew, please call the speakers.
Thank you, Chair Lawson-Remer. We have 26 requests to speak on matters not listed on the agenda, 17 in person and 9 requesting to speak by phone. For those that requested to speak by phone, please dial into the conference line now using the instructions that were provided to you. We'll begin with the in-person speakers, and we'll now randomly select the first 5 speakers in person. All the remaining speakers will be heard at the conclusion of today's session. As your name is called, please come forward and stand on the arrows until it is your turn to speak at the podium. You will have 2 minutes to address the board, and we'll ask you to begin by stating your name for the audio record. I'd like to invite forward the first 3 individuals: Andrew Lawson, Sylvia Irigoyen, allegedly Audra, and they'll be followed by June Dudas and Parita Javier. If I've called your name, please come forward.
Honorable Council City members, I'm here today as a testament to the power of grief support. After losing my daughter on Bay Boulevard, where she was left to die, my husband and I had to investigate her death ourselves.
Can you please state your name?
My name is Sylvia Irigoyen. And due to the lack of police response, I thought I hit rock bottom. UPAC grief support has been supportive to me. Because of them, I have saved 17 people's lives and put them in programs myself. They helped me gain the strength that I need for myself and for my grandkids that my daughter left us. Without my strength, my grandkids would be in danger. And I owe it all to my grief support. They're standing by me at all times, and they've helped me grow and understand that grief is never going to go away. Grief is not something you can see, but it's something inside. If any of you have lost any children, you would understand. But nobody else can understand except for the ones that have lost them. Without that money, that support that we need, we're not going to have grief support. We're not going to have these programs that we need. So I urge you to please find an alternative to help us, because we're in the dark. We're always left in the dark, because it doesn't really happen. You're not supposed to be grieving like this. When you lose your husband or your spouse, you're a widow. When you lose your children, what do you call them? You don't call them anything. There's no name for us. So please, if you could consider helping us, it would be great. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please. If I've called your name, please come forward. Andrew Lawson, allegedly Audra, June Dudas, and Perita Javier.
Good morning. My name is June Dudas. We need a humane way to petition for LPS conservatorships. I've spent the past 264 days working within the county mental health system, but still can't get my cousin the help he needs. You may have read our family's struggles on the front page of last Sunday's Union Tribune. Ed is an elderly resident that suffers from bipolar schizophrenia. He's been homeless or incarcerated for nearly 2 decades. His untreated disease causes him to act violently and irrationally. He's committed multiple armed attacks on unsuspecting strangers. He's been arrested 14 times that I know of. The state has found Ed mentally incompetent 3 times. He spent 5 years in Patton State Mental Hospital with forced medication orders. He was last released from prison in March. He has yet to check in with his parole officer. His voices tell him to kill his 84-year-old mother, and he has tried. He's violated her restraining order 21 times this year alone. We installed 4 security cameras on her 700-square-foot home. We request PERT or MCRT every time we call 911. They are never available, so only police officers arrive. I've tried to get Ed into every program possible, but he will not comply. He's denied care court 3 times this year. He has repeatedly rejected IHOT. He believes he owns 3 houses and is a high-ranking military veteran, so says he doesn't need any help. Both are untrue. A county clinician determined Ed suffers from another condition that makes it impossible for him to even realize he is mentally ill. He made threatening remarks to this clinician the last time they met. Last month, my cousin gave the court a 10-minute nonsensical, angry rant. The judge assessed Ed to be a danger to himself and to others, but is likely to return to his mother's home as soon as he is back out. He said his only option was to incarcerate him for as long as possible. He will be out in March. I'm asking you to direct the county conservator to evaluate my cousin while he is in jail.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Your time is up. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Next speaker, please. Your time is up. Thank you. Next speaker, please.
My person uses the name Audra. Elizabeth, Evelyn, and I are still waiting to talk to you in Alfredo. And I just wanted to say it's interesting how San Diego's Child Trafficking Network, also known as CPS, CWS, CFWB, whatever you want to call it, Foster Care Family Court, is so threatened by me that they have to try to manipulate parents and families that have had their children taken by you guys to say and coerce them to say that things that they're doing are my fault, tell them that their children are terrified of me when I've never even met their child. Telling them that Israel is paying me, that I am here to manipulate them and everything. And it's interesting because even social workers, like, they all talk about this within your little child trafficking network. And a lot is coming out about CPS. That's just what people know it as. It's not Child Protective Services. Children are being tormented. You guys are even covering up sexual assault, saying that I'm coaching children to do that. So why are you guys so threatened of the truth and being exposed? Because, Andrew, you went viral in a new documentary that just came out about CPS. It's pretty cool. The whole county was in it, talking about Malika and Zaya Robinson, right? But it's interesting to see what gets done behind the scenes to try and attack me. And I'll just say, if anything does happen to me, the county needs to be looked at. The county welfare services needs to be looked at, from the attorneys to the judges to the social workers to people like Elizabeth and Alfredo. and even you guys, because you are complicit. You stay quiet. You have your heads down right now. But thank God I stand in the shadow of our Almighty God. And so I know that until the day He wants to call me home, I will be protected. But your child trafficking network is going to come crashing to the ground.
Thank you. Next speaker, please. Parita Javier and Andrew Lawson. If Andrew Lawson isn't present in the chamber, we'll call the fifth speaker.
Good morning.
Evelyn Bravo.
Yeah.
Cesar Javier, 5232 Streamview Drive, San Diego, California, 92105. Dear Cesar, thank you for reaching out to my office regarding your conditional or continued concerns over the air quality in your neighborhood. We will be reaching out to the County of the San Diego Air Pollution Control District. As soon as we have an update, your community representative Ben Mendoza will follow up with you. If the problem continues, please do not hesitate to contact Ben Mendoza at Mendoza Ben San Diego GOV or 619-510-6896. If you have any additional concerns or questions, please do not hesitate to contact us again. The District 9 team and I are committed to the highest standard of constituent service and will continue working to provide you with the city you and the San Diegans deserve. Sincerely,
read the name.
Sean Elo Rivera, Council Member.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next speaker, please. Caesar, I did not call your name this morning. I did not call you in the first group of 5. We'll hear from you this afternoon.
Can I request, Madam Chair, that we are a union and we registered?
Sir, you were not
Could
called.
we ask if we could be allowed to speak?
Sir, you're not called as part of the first 5. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, Bevelyn Bravo.
Good morning, esteemed Board of Supervisors. I am sharing my personal story regarding the Community Violence Response Team. The day my son was killed, I arrived at the scene, and behind the yellow tape, the Community Violence Response Team was there waiting to support me and stand with me. This team helped me pick me up as I cried in agony. After months of grief and depression and not being able to function, my 10-year-old son asked me, "Mom, what's going to happen to me if you don't get better?" It was the Community Violence Response Team that helped me get back on my feet and function as a well parent again. The compassion and services the Community Violence Response Team provided for me and my family helped me heal. I'm proud to say I now work with this dedicated team. From experience, I know it's a matter of life or death trying to survive a loss like this, and the first response makes a difference. Please look at our program and support us in our search to seek funding. Thank you so much.
Thank you. We'll now hear from the individuals that requested to speak by phone. Again, in accordance with the board's rules, we'll be hearing from the first 5 callers. The remaining callers will be heard at the conclusion of today's session. When it is your turn to speak, you will be unmuted and you will hear a recording that will tell you to begin your comments. We'll begin with our first caller.
Consuelo here, and yeah, that's pretty wrong that you do that to the Javiers. But then again, I understand you don't care what we have to say. So, all right, now on to what I really have to say. At the start of this meeting, the prayer was beautiful, but it was incomplete. He asked for blessings and protection, but he left out the two things this county needs most: discernment and awakening. So let me continue that prayer myself. I pray for my neighbors and every resident here to be granted the clarity to see what's really happening and the awakening to finally say enough. Then you guys stand for the pledge, and we hear the scripted words about honoring the indigenous people and tribal lands. And honestly, those words are empty. Stop pretending. The pledge itself is a total joke. It's become a joke. Our allegiance shouldn't be to a freaking flag. It should be to the earth, to peace, and to all the people. Because what this county keeps playing year after year is the same old game: divide, distract, blame, deflect. Instead of owning decades of damage, you pretend the crisis has just happened. But homelessness didn't appear out of nowhere. Addiction didn't appear out of nowhere. Mental health collapse, inflation, and families barely surviving. None of it is random. These problems grow when leadership chooses politics, political image, and career climbing over actual human beings. And speaking of careers, where are the former faces who promised the world? Where's Nathan? Where's Nora? They were loud when it served their image, and silence once accountability appeared. That's how you know it was never about the people. The system runs on performance, not integrity. And that is why I pray with all of my heart.
Thank you. We'll now hear from the next caller.
All aboard. Arabella McCormick, Andrea Epping, Evelyn Robinson, the 150 or so Polinsky Center abuse cases, along with the other abuse cases, people and animals, make me wonder if the board takes care of its own but ignores all the harm to others its policies cause after the vote. A lot of board policies, sending letters here and there, purporting to represent the entire county, although public sentiment is actually not mentioned, long-term studies, emergencies without direct action, also seem to all to be for show. However, these have after effects, mainly people sick and or distrustful, sometimes legal action. Finally, there is a scathing grand jury report on the McCormick case, details of which were made public and corroborate the details in the legal complaint. I am therefore calling for a personnel audit, including dismissal of persons responsible for crimes against the people of this county or specific individuals within it. For CWS, CPS, and possibly HHS, the Sheriff's Department, CERB, and other agencies which deal with the public. Apparently, the animal abuse, Craig Networks, and Deborah Barkley's ranch also continues. There are state laws against not investigating or correcting this, apart from the disgust and distrust it brings. These are the government code, section 25,800 to 803, Board of Supervisors' duties to animals, and penal code sections 597, 597.1, and 5.
Thank you. Now hear from the next caller.
So good morning. This is Peggy Walker. Supervisors, your purpose is to protect constituents, but As a public health educator and youth mentor, I want to share research showing that your proposal to expand marijuana businesses is harmful, especially to those under 26. The Journal of Adolescent Health just published a comprehensive study of nearly 400,000 California high school teens conducted by the University of California, the Public Health Institute, and Kaiser Health. Results showed that when marijuana becomes more visible and accessible, youth use and associated health challenges increase. However, communities that ban retail marijuana sales and deliveries consistently have lower rates of youth use and adolescent psychosis. Restrictive policies make a real difference in protecting teens, the UC study concluded. We've only to look at our own countywide ER admission rates to see the challenge to youth health of current policy. County data shows that since Prop 64, ER admission and hospital rates for marijuana-related issues were higher for those aged 10 to 24 compared to the overall county rates. To protect youth, UC research recommends 1, adapting retail bans to limit access and reduce normalization of marijuana use, and 2, restricting cannabis marketing. I urge you not to expand marijuana availability, but to adopt bans and limit pot access to prevent youth addiction and other challenging health consequences. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. We'll now hear from the next caller.
Johnny Vargas on Tiberos. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen of the County Board of Supervisors. I want to take the time to say I appreciate the time for letting me speak up on a vital issue in our community, and that's the Community Violence Response Team. As Evelyn Bravo spoke earlier, mentioning that the county is getting rid of these programs, and these programs are very vital for individuals such as myself, as I lost my son 3 years ago to a senseless act of violence. And unfortunately, this group continues to grow. But as this group grows, unfortunately, we should have more support. And in fact, we're taking our support away. This group has been there for me as I did not know what to do when the situation happened to me, my family, and my son's family. And they were able to help us, guide us, and show the emotion that it feels like as a parent, as a family member that has lost their child or a loved one to senseless violence. I urge you to please take a look at these groups and these support means of support for people. And if we're not doing it on the front end by providing more programs to avoid people growing up and becoming monsters and committing these heinous crimes, then let's try to support them, or after they happen, let's not take it away. Once again, thank you guys for your time. You guys have a wonderful day.
Thank you. We'll now hear from the next caller. And Chair Lawson-Remer, that concludes the request for non-agenda public communication this morning for the callers that are in the queue at this time. All the remaining speakers will be heard at the conclusion of today's session.
Okay, thanks.
Madam Chair, can I just interject? To the woman who spoke about her cousin, I think you're getting up to leave right now. If you haven't already, please contact my office. We'll see if we can help. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Desmond. The next item on our agenda is approval of the minutes and statements of proceedings for the general legislative session of November 18th and November 19th, and minutes for concurrent special district meeting, the Flood Control District, on August 27th, the Housing Authority on November 5th, and the Redevelopment Successor Agency on June 24th, the Sanitation District on August 27th and November 18th, and the Fire Protection District on September 30th, and an In-Home Supportive Services Public Authority on June 24th and August 27th, all of 2025. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Okay. We have a motion by Supervisor Aguirre, and I think Supervisor Montgomery Stepp beat you to the punch. She's the second on that, so thank you for that. We have a motion and a second. Andrew, please call the roll.
Chair Lawson Remer, that motion passes unanimously with all supervisors being present and voting aye.
Okay. We now proceed with the formation of the consent agenda, items 1 through 23, fire protection item 1, and in-home supportive services item 1. All items of the consent agenda are routine and will be acted upon with one motion. Individuals may comment on the consent agenda as part of consent comment after supervisors pull any items they would like for discussion. Vice Chair Montgomery Stepp, do you have any items to pull or any comments?
I have a few comments on items number 5, 9, and 11. So item number 5, as a board member of the San Diego Workforce Partnership, I would like to comment and congratulate the county's acceptance of the Fire and Emergency Medical Services Grant. This grant will address the shortage and demand for more fire and EMS service workers. The funding will also reduce barriers in individuals' experience entering the fire and EMS workforce, such as the high costs related to training, limited access to certifications, and employer-sponsored apprenticeships. Not only will the County of San Diego benefit from this opportunity, but there are other agencies across the region as well that are receiving grants, such as the community college districts and the San Diego Fire Rescue Foundation that collaborate with the county and other fire departments across different cities, which this all was mentioned in our last San Diego Workforce Partnership Policy Board meeting on November 20th. I'm very pleased that the county is a part of this region-wide effort and will it be accepted this grant, provided the consent agenda passes today. It will provide economic opportunities for individuals in need of employment that will sustain their households and contribute to the economy of the San Diego region. And then for number 9, just want to congratulate county staff for the successful application and award of $1.1 million to support the down payment and closing cost assistance first-time homebuyer program that improves access to home ownership for low-income households by providing low-interest deferred payment loans to program participants. This is something that I feel very passionate about. So thank you, county staff, for applying, and congratulations on receiving this application. And lastly, just real briefly on the number 11, which is the date and times for next year's meeting calendar. I don't know if I need to pull this, hopefully not.
You don't.
Okay. I would like to just make a small amendment on the calendar, moving the Truth Act Forum from the May 5th meeting to April 21st due to a conflict with the NACO conference.
Before we go to comments from other colleagues, let's just take a moment if people could look at your calendars. That's fine with me. It was my item, but I want to make sure my colleagues look at their calendars and make sure the 21st works for everybody.
That's the 6 p.m.
That's a 6 p.m. meeting, yeah.
Feedback form. Okay.
We'll just give her in a moment.
Okay.
Any comments? Works for me. Anyone, any objections? Okay, I'm happy to take that. Thank you.
Thank you. And with that, I will move the consent agenda. Thank you so much, Chair.
Okay. We've got a motion, and Supervisor or Chair Pro Tem Paloma Aguirre is in the queue.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I actually want to pull item number 1.
Okay, that's fine.
So I don't know if we need a
you can just pull it.
Vote on the balance of the consent?
Yeah, we'll vote on the balance. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Supervisor Anderson, do you have any comments?
I'd like to pull items 13 and 20.
Okay. So we're pulling item 1. We're pulling items 13. Pulling item 20. Supervisor Desmond?
Let's see, I was going to speak on 1 and 20, so I'll wait for that. So I just want to speak on item number 7. This is to authorize acceptance of funding to address sexually transmitted infections, support harm reduction services, and apply for future opportunities. I'll be supporting this item, the acceptance of the state funding for public health efforts. However, there have been in the past many harm reduction services I've not been in favor of, and nor have my communities I represent, such as distributing needles and safe smoking supplies. However, it's my understanding after checking with staff that these funds are not going to be going to those types of materials. Instead, they're going to be primarily for support, connections, and services for treatment, which I highly support. So I will be supporting item 7. So thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. So far, just to confirm, items 1, 13, and 20 have been pulled. Did I miss anything? Okay. And we had an amendment to item 11, which I have friendly amendment, happy to accept. So I just have a quick comment on item 5. For folks who aren't following, this is the EMS core program, and the San Diego Partnership, the San Diego Workforce Partnership is funding this program with a grant. It's awesome. It's both going to help us address a critical staffing challenge with our emergency medical services, and also creating earn while you learn opportunities for young people who are facing adversity. I just want to take a moment to talk about sort of the job pathways that are created through an EMT program. It's a rigorous program. You know, you can get your EMT training in 3 months and then be ready to save lives, which is so empowering and so important for service to our community. And then you have a job that is itself a whole career pathway. You can take your EMT to the next level, from an EMT basic to an EMT advanced. You can become a paramedic. Opens up opportunities in the fire department, the sheriff's department. So just overall, I am so supportive of this kind of entry pathway that creates long-term sustainable and really fulfilling service jobs for our community that people, you know, ultimately can earn a good life for their families. This is personal to me. As I think most of you know, I'm a wilderness EMT and love it, and just think it's some of the best work that you can do in the world. So more of this, and thank you all so much for your work, and thank you to the San Diego Partnership on this. With that, oh wait, we have one more item I wanted to make some comments on. This is the IHSS item, which is IHSS item number 1. And I see a lot of folks who work with IHSS here today. I just want to thank you. I want to thank you for the work that you do for our community, the work you do for taking care of people who need it the most. Nothing is more important in our community, in our economy, in our society than the care that we give to each other. And too often we see people, bankers, whatnot, making multiple millions of dollars, gaming systems, playing with algorithms, and then the people who do the hardest work, the most meaningful work, the most important work, which is taking care of elderly people, people with disabilities, taking care of each other, aren't treated with the respect and dignity that you deserve. So I just want to say I thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for everything you do for us every single day. I see you, I hear you, I value you, and thank you for showing up for your clients. So thank you. So with that, we will move. We have a motion. Do we have a second? I'm happy to second. Okay, great. So we have a motion and a second, and we'll move to comment on consent.
Thank you, Chair Lawson-Remer. We have 18 total requests to speak on items on the consent agenda, 10 in person and 8 requesting to speak by phone. As a reminder, items 1, 13, and 20 were pulled from the consent agenda for discussion. Any individuals that requested to speak on those items, please hold your comments until the board discusses those items. We will receive public comment on those items separately. Again, that's items 1, 13, and 20. Any individuals that requested to speak on the remaining items on the consent agenda by phone, please dial into the conference line using the instructions that were provided to you. We'll begin with the in-person speakers. As your name is called, please come forward and stand on the arrows until it is your turn to speak at the podium. You will have 2 minutes to address the board, and I'll ask you to begin by stating your name for the audio record. And also, please identify which items in the consent agenda you are speaking about. I'd like to invite forward the first 3 individuals: Cesar Javier, allegedly Audra, and Doug Moore. Again, I will be calling you groups of 3, so I'll ask you to please listen for your name.
Two minutes. I cannot speak without my fellow political member, the smallest political unit in our community, the Javier family. I was a substitute teacher and had the chance to teach mathematics. I will start with this consent agenda. Number 0, consent agenda, ought to be discussed on the prime aspect of priority. You set the example, ma'am. On item 2, ought to be competitive with equity, concept for quality, cost, effectiveness. Did we answer those criteria? Ma'am, mademoiselles, sirs. Number 16, it's very clear. Real estate is a resource. And the vision here is for San Diego City future development. Why only San Diego City? Why not the county as a whole? On 21, approval of conflict of interest codes, COI codes. Please, let's do it. Nice and easy. Must be adequate, efficient, and effective. And we pray that it shall be done as fast as we could. May we be educated on this. We have not seen the legislative product. We must know as public because we are here to help you. We are on the port side, you are on the other side, you are on the top, you are at the back. We are here all around. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good morning. My name is Doug Moore, and I'm speaking on consent item number 1. And I'm the Executive Director of UDW, a union representing over 42,000 home care providers in San Diego and over 220,000 home care and family child care providers across California. Firstly, I want to thank the Board of Supervisors, their staff, the CAO and her staff, and thank our members, leaders, who fought so hard to make this possible. This agreement is a testament to what happens when workers and local leaders stand together. Right now, home care providers across the country are facing an attack from the Trump administration. Even here in California, providers have been threatened by the state with cuts that would take hours away from people who rely on them. In the middle of all of that, this board chose a different path. You stepped up, you helped us fight back, and for that, we are grateful. In a country where home care providers are being marginalized and undervalued, members of this board are doing the work to make sure that that does not happen here in San Diego, and we appreciate that. This contract reflects that commitment and that leadership. The wage increases will help providers find the stability they need to continue doing this vital work. Continued investments in PPE, training, transportation support, and other resources strengthen and stabilize our workforce. And your commitment to expand recruitment and retention efforts, along with investments in caregiving, innovation, and technology, will be life-changing for providers and for the people who depend on IHSS to live independently and with dignity in their homes. This agreement serves as a path to stability for care workers and continuity of care for seniors and people living with disabilities, and the respect for the workforce deserves.
Thank you.
Thank you.
As the next speaker is coming forward, I'll call 3 additional speakers: Sabrina Bishop, Duen Nguyen, and Yolanda Alvarez. If I've called your name, please come forward.
My person uses the name Audra. It is interesting, I'm going to be talking about number 6, to see what kind of families you guys really care about and which families you care are ripped apart, which ones you don't. And it's interesting, your wellness and preparedness training that's going to be happening on Thursday and Friday in Escondido for illegal immigrants and others, for them to know their rights, right? We don't teach our communities this about how to not have, you know, say CPS come in and rip your family apart. Nobody should allow them into their home without a warrant. You should document everything. You should make sure you have a witness, and basically don't give them anything until, yeah, because you know what? It's a child trafficking network that you guys have going on here, and with this little advisory board, Child and Family Strengthening Advisory Board. How cool is that? It's interesting because everybody on that board, pretty much from the Polensky Center to the guardian ad litems to your social workers to people in foster care, that is the child trafficking network. And it's interesting because before 1997, when the Clintons came in and created ASFA, Adoption and Safe Families Act, states actually had to pay to take and rip families apart. So you know what? They didn't do it that much. Then as soon as those Social Security funds got tapped into, oh my gosh, that conveyor belt just really got going with children going through it, right? That's why you call it family strengthening. You only strengthen families once you rip that family apart, take their children, give them to someone else, and you do anything and everything under the sun. And unfortunately, Andrew, makes me wonder where your daughter came from if she was in foster care. Do you know what happened? Because it is unfortunate that that's what happens in this.
Pause her time. Audra, there are 5 elected members of the Board of Supervisors. Please speak to one of us 5 or all of us 5. This is your first warning. If you violate the rules again, I will have to ask you to forfeit your time. Thank you.
Yes. Okay. Well, your guys' child trafficking network is being exposed, and you need to understand the funding that comes from ASFA. Since the Clintons did that in '97, it has been a whirlwind of ripping families apart.
Next speaker, please.
Good morning. My name is Yolanda Keniston Alvarez. I'm an IHSS provider and a proud member of my union, UDW, for nearly 20 years. I want to thank the county for working with our union to come to this tentative agreement that betters the lives of all care workers here in San Diego. The IHSS program here in San Diego is a lifeline for people, not just for our clients, but also for the providers like me. I'm a single parent of a child with disabilities, and IHSS has allowed me to make ends meet while caring for my child. It's important that we keep reaching agreements like this one, where we get wage increases that value our work and allow us to live decent lives while also providing the best care possible. Wage increases like the one we agreed to mean the difference between healthy food and unhealthy food, or something as simple as being able to take your own son to the movies. So thank you for working with us, and we look forward to continuing our partnership to make caregiving a dignifying profession with thriving wages. Thank you so much.
Thank you. As the next speaker is coming forward, I'll invite 3 additional speakers. Ethel Larkins, Shika Bansal, and Delfina Gonzalez.
Good morning, Board and Madam Chair. My name is Sabrina Bishop, and I am the chair of the UDW Board here in San Diego. We'd like to thank you for believing in this program and for understanding that we are essential workers and that the difference we make is huge in saving the lives of San Diegans. In particular, I want to draw attention to the pay raise and the funding that we will receive for additional training. As you know, some San Diegans have very rare health conditions. They need injections and require other specialized care. Through this training, we are going to receive the training that we need to provide that essential care to our clients who need and deserve it. The pay raise will make a huge difference in the lives of more than, the pay raise will make a huge difference in the lives of our providers. More than 70% of our providers are renters, and the majority of those individuals will see their rents increase by a maximum of 10% every January. So the pay raise is definitely needed. In March, it will increase our pay to $20.40 per hour. But please understand, we are truly grateful for all the agreement that we have made in this contract. We are essential workers and will continue to fight for the true cost of care our providers need and deserve, because we are not there yet, but we will get there one day. Just know that today we are truly grateful and appreciate and respect your generosity. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good morning, Board of Supervisors. My name is Ethel Larkins, and I've been an IHS provider for the past 11 years. Today, I want to thank the county for working with us to reach this tentative agreement. This contract is more than numbers on a page. It says recognition of the vital care IHSS providers give to seniors and people with disabilities every single day. With this agreement, wages will rise over the next 2 years, and these increases will help stabilize the workforce at a time where more families depend on home care more than ever. Caregivers deserve wages that reflect the skilled, compassionate work we do, and these steps move us in the right direction. I want to thank you for recognizing the value of IHSS caregivers and for investing in the people who allow thousands of San Diego residents to live safely at home. We urge you to vote yes and finalize this agreement. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Shikha Bansal. I've been caring for my daughter for 16 years, and I became an IHSS provider a year and a half ago. I'm also proud to be a member of my union, UDW. Before my daughter was diagnosed, I was a working woman building my career. Her diagnosis marked a turning point that demanded my full commitment. I chose to stay home so I could support her complex needs and advocate her, especially when she faced inequalities and challenges in public school settings. My daughter is high-functioning, exceptionally gifted with numbers and calendars, yet she still requires daily support, structure, and guidance due to her lack of social awareness and behavioral issues. Enrolling her in IHSS has been truly a lifeline for our family. The program has allowed me to care for her safely at home while meeting her growing needs with dignity, stability, and consistency. For families like mine, the support is not optional, it is essential. I want to thank all of you for recognizing the value of our work and for reaching a tentative contract agreement. This contract doesn't just address the needs we face today, it is an investment in the future of our children, who are building blocks of our society. Over the next 3 years, it's encouraging to note that the county and we providers will be collaborating on provider recruitment and retention, wellness programs, technology improvements, and training. The contract also ensures union participation in orientations and important studies, so caregivers and providers' voices are included in shaping the program. The investments will strengthen the IHSS program and ensure that clients like my daughter can continue living safely and independently in the comfort of their homes. Thank you. Thank you for listening.
Next speaker, please.
Good morning. My name is Delfina Gonzalez, and I am proud to be able to be here because I know there's a caregiver taking care of my daughter. Her name's Amanda Gonzalez, and she was born with Down syndrome. She's 30 years young, and this is something that I did not know about this program when she was born. I didn't know about it when I went to the IEPs and the education, and I barely found out about this program 5 years ago when my daughter was very, very sick, and I had lost my mom due to dialysis and an accident that happened in the city of Chula Vista. No one should lose their mother because they have to go to work and they send their mother or their ill parent to a senior care center, and that place harms your parent. So I'm very grateful that I'm here now knowing that my daughter Amanda is with a caregiver because she's now having neurological issues. She doesn't understand certain things and she's actually regressing, but I know she's well because she's at home and she's thriving the best that she can. With the support that you guys are giving us, as caregivers, we're able to get educated. We're able to have these PPEs. We're able to live a life that is here in San Diego that is so expensive. And I'm very grateful for you all for being able to support and making San Diego County a county that chooses to care for those that are in need. Because many people, just like our president Sabrina, her mother passed away, but she decided to take care of somebody else that wasn't related. There's so many testimonies that we don't have enough time to say, but just say thank you, and thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good morning, Supervisor. My name is Yuan Nguyen. I've been an IHSS provider for 15 years. I'm also a proud member of my union, UDW. I want to thank the county for reaching the tentative agreement with UDW and for understanding the need for care workers. Funding for PPE, transportation, and trans provider real support that strengthen our ability to care for our clients across the county. The investment means providers can get to work, protect our clients, grow our skill, and have real representation. It means caregivers can focus on doing our job safely and reliably. We appreciate the county commitment and urge you to approve this agreement so we can continue providing the high-quality care our community depends on. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll now hear from those that requested to speak by phone. When it is your turn to speak, you will be unmuted and you will hear a recording that will tell you to begin your comments. We will start with our first caller.
Okay, so Consuelo here. Yeah, it never ceases to amaze me how the county hides some of the most important decisions inside consent calendar. But whatever, I'm used to it. 20 items. You get 2 minutes. Great, here we go. Item 6. Let's see, the Amendment of Child and Family Strengthening and Advisory Board. Okay, so I'm going to say this bluntly. The only reason these boards even exist is because the system has failed children and families to begin with. And instead of fixing the root of the problem, the county keeps adding more committees, more layers, more bureaucracy, while the real issues get buried. Let's see, and there's something that is important. A first reading of an ordinance is not a routine matter. It should not be shoved into consent with 24 other items. It's like it's nothing. So that alone reeks of hiding things from the public. And I actually stole that from Paul DeBold. So thank you, Paul DeBold. Let's see, and the truth is the advisory board should be made of actual families, actual people affected.
Thank you. Just want to make sure it's clear that item 20 has been pulled from consent. So please confine your comments to the other items on the consent agenda. Thank you.
Are you talking to me?
Correct.
Hello? 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 Who are you speaking to? Tara, Lawson Reamer.
I just told you I am speaking to you. Please continue your comments.
I'm on number 6. Did you pull item number 6? Did you pull 6? Was 6 pulled?
You can continue speaking to item 6. I wanted to make sure you're aware that item 20 has been pulled. Thank you.
Did you pause my time before you interrupted?
Yes.
Rules for thee, huh? Okay, good, great. Okay, so now, I wasn't finished with 6, but thanks for interrupting me. Okay, now to 21. Okay, conflicts of interest. The only reason this item exists is because conflict of interest is everywhere in this county, Sandag to MTS to the city councils. Every agency is tangled in political favors and backroom interests. You can create 9 disclosure categories, 19,000. It doesn't change the core issue. A system that is corrupt will always find ways to hide corruption.
Thank you. We'll hear from the next caller.
All that union clapping was really disturbing. Rules for thee, not for me. The first reading of an ordinance is not a routine matter, and it should not be carried in the consent calendar lumped with 24 other items. This reeks of self-interest and hiding stuff from the public. With the county's horrible record on child and family matters, you don't need to be on the advisory board. Keep partisan politics out of it. Also, the appointees should be appointed by a few child welfare providers, not by partisan politicos. And keep the Polinsky Center rep off the board unless it's a child victim of it. There need to be more children and families on the advisory board. It would be nice to add them, not politicians who might use undue influence. 11, only one board meeting in February, April, July, August, November, and December. Only one community budget hearing. Sounds like the community is getting shut out again. I predict lots of meetings where items will be carried over to the next day, silencing those who can't be here or online a second day. Or maybe more will be done in secret and put on the consent calendar when it's not a routine item or ordinance, like at this meeting. You should plan early and schedule items on the next day if there are more than 25. 8 is a great idea. 3 big problems of transitional housing. A lot of money wasted on expensive housing. Use cheaper housing which is quicker to build. 3D printed, tiny homes, shipping crate homes, maybe Adobe.
Thank you. We'll hear from the next caller.
Good morning. My name is Becky Rapp, and I'd like to speak to item number 6. As you consider updates to the Child and Family Strengthening Advisory Board, I want to strongly emphasize the importance of including healthcare professionals who will report specifically on the detrimental impact high-potency marijuana products are having on our youth, specifically those who are on the front lines, like those at Rady Children's Hospital, as well as behavioral health experts. Recently, Rady's has seen a sharp rise in children and adolescents arriving in their emergency department with marijuana poisonings, including accidental ingestion of high-potency edibles and the cases of cannabinoid hyperemesis syndrome, the uncontrollable vomiting, sometimes referred to as scromiting. These medical teams have firsthand experience as to what is happening to our kids. We also need representation from behavioral health clinicians who are treating the undeniable increase of mental health disorders, specifically tied to marijuana use, anxiety disorders, depression, psychosis, and cognitive impairment, as these are just a few of the everyday occurrences seen in our county's clinics, emergency rooms, and school-based mental health programs. If this advisory board is intended to strengthen families and improve outcomes for vulnerable youth, then it must include the experts who are actually witnessing the consequences of today's high-potency marijuana products. Without their perspective, the board risks missing some of the most urgent and emerging threats to child and well-being in our county. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll hear from the next caller.
Hi, good morning, Board of Supervisors. My name is Madison, and I'm speaking on item 6. As you consider amendments to the Administrative Code and the expansion of the Child and Family Strengthening Advisory Board, I want to highlight an important opportunity: ensuring that the expanded membership includes individuals with strong backgrounds in youth substance use prevention and youth mental health. The CFSAB exists to guide policies and programs that impact some of our most vulnerable young people, those involved in child welfare and juvenile justice systems. We know from both national research and local experience that substance use and mental health challenges are deeply intertwined with system involvement. Prevention is not just a complementary service, it is a structural necessity if we want to reduce deeper system penetration, keep families intact, and promote long-term well-being. By intentionally adding members with expertise in youth prevention, trauma-informed care, school-based interventions, and community mental health services, the board can strengthen the advisory's ability to identify root causes, elevate evidence-based strategies, and support equitable outcomes. These perspectives ensure that prevention is not an afterthought, but a core lens applied to policy development, program oversight, and resource allocation. As you move forward with modernizing the composition of the CFSAB, I urge you to embed this expertise into the structure. Doing so will help create a more responsive, integrated, and sustainable system that better serves San Diego's children, youth, and families. Thank you.
Thank you. Now hear from the final caller.
Hi, it's Truth. Item 3, it was in 2023 that the federal government approved of giving Medicaid to inmates, but what about now under Trump? Item 7, $61 million was already wasted by the state on encouraging addiction, and 4 years later, more fentanyl meth is killing people than ever before. No to another $2.3 million to the Sierra Health Foundation, which funnels money to their Immigrant Resilience Fund to fund communist organizations supporting illegal immigration and lawyers for illegals. Item 9, when single-family homes cost are hitting $1 million for a fixer-upper, how far will $1.4 million in assistance for the entire county go? I bet pretty much nobody even qualifies for this program. Item 10, the sign says the corrupt state of California blew $760 million on homelessness prevention and failed miserably with zero accountability. What could go wrong with the county getting $12.1 million? Item 12, no to giving unqualified globalist minion Larry Cohen the authority to invest in nefarious organizations on behalf of the 3 wannabe queens using our tax dollars as their personal piggy bank. Items 15, 16, and 17, why is the county using a property appraisal from 2011 for the Chinese Museum, Scott Walker, and Liberty Station? Is the county giving their corrupt friends at the city of San Diego a discount, even after they've been bailed out about 5 times by county taxpayers? Item 22, no to Monica Hernandez, the Arts and Culture Commission. She's part of the Immigrants' Rights Consortium, which destroys culture by supporting illegal immigration. No to Janice Reynosa to the Behavioral Health Board. She delusionally believes she is challenging a system which is governed by white supremacy. She obviously needs behavioral health. No to Gaurav Mishra to the Behavioral Health Board, who's on the board of Southwest Key Refuge, Refugee and Migrant Technical Assistance Center, both alleged to have smuggled in illegals. No to Samhita Ilango to the Health Services Board, who worked on abortion research. So much for health. No to Don Dumas to CLRB, Southwestern's half-white board president, who wants to eliminate anti-blackness and teach through a social justice lens with racist books like Brown Skin, White Minds. No to Cheryl Converse Rapp to the past Grand Jurors Committee. As a teacher in Costa, she brainwashed children with cult mantras such as no human is illegal. Bunch of crazies.
Thank you. And Chair Lawson-Remer, that concludes public comment on the items on the consent agenda.
Okay, thank you very much. Chair Pro Tem Aguirre, you had some comments?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. I have a comment on item 01 of the IHSS. I do want to take a moment to recognize the extraordinary work of our IHSS caregivers and to ground today's action in the history of this profession here in California. The IHSS program was created in the early 1970s with a powerful and deeply humane idea that our seniors, people with disabilities, deserve to age and live with dignity in their homes, surrounded by family and community. For more than 5 decades, it has been caregivers who have carried that promise forward. And from the very beginning, this workforce has been made up overwhelmingly of women of color, immigrants, and family members who stepped up to do essential, intimate, life-sustaining work long before society ever recognized it as such. For years, they did this work quietly, often for poverty wages and without benefits, even as they kept people safe, stable, and connected to the lives of the people they love. It took generations of organizing and advocacy, led by caregivers themselves, by consumers, and by UDW, to win the rights, respect, and protections that IHSS workers finally have today. That history matters because it reminds us that progress only happens when we choose to value the people who make our communities work. IHSS providers are not a side part of our care system. They are the system. They prevent hospitalizations, reduce costs, keep families together, and provide the kind of human connection, cultural competence, and emotional support that no institution can replicate. Their work is skilled, compassionate, and it is absolutely essential to the well-being of our region. So today's vote is not just about a wage supplement. It is a statement of our values. It is an affirmation that caregivers deserve economic security, stability, and the respect that matches the importance of their work. To the caregivers who shared your stories today, to UDW for your leadership, and to every IHSS workers who shows up every day with love and strength, thank you. When we invest in caregivers, we invest in dignity, independence, and a more just and compassionate San Diego County. And I'm very proud to support this item today. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. We also have some comments from Vice Chair Montgomery Stepp.
I will be brief, Chair. I want to thank everyone who has come out to speak on the consent agenda, including those who have called in. But I particularly want to thank our caregivers. As you all know, my mother had to apply for IHSS to take care of me in my last year of college, where I had to come home from Spelman because I got very, very, very sick. And so this has helped to shape how I view the world and how I view this job and how I perform this job. And so I want to say thank you, because without your care, I certainly would not be sitting in this seat. So happy to support the item. Really, it's very deserving, and it does make a statement, as Mr. Moore said. So thank you so much for being here, and thank you for all that you do for our entire region.
Okay, thank you all so much for being here. And we have a motion. With that, we have a motion and a second. Please vote.
Chair Lawson-Remer, that motion passes unanimously with all supervisors being present and voting aye.
Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you so much. As we transition to the remainder of the agenda, moving on to our discussion items, I want to take a moment to preview for my colleagues the remainder of the day so everyone can plan accordingly. As I think everyone's well aware, this is quite a long agenda, and with 3 items being pulled from consent, we're likely to need to continue some of these items till tomorrow. So I just wanted to give you all a heads up. Just looking at the TikTok I have in front of me, obviously subject to change depending on how quickly these items move. So this is just really a preview. What?
You should define TikTok.
Oh,
It
define
sounds like
TikTok.
social media.
Yeah, it's not a TikTok. TikTok, here's my estimate that my staff made of how long each item will take upon my request. Apologies. Thank you. Thank you, Vice Chair. There's, could have been a video. But this is really for my colleagues and also for our county team to kind of just have a heads up. So it's about 10 to 11. We're going to take items in order. So it's, we have items 1, 13, 20 were all pulled. Then we'll move to items 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. We'll take lunch at around 12:30, subject to sort of where we're at with the items, but that's the plan, is to take a lunch at around 12:30. I'm looking at this. I think we're likely to get through item 29, more or less, which would mean the remainder of the items would be continued till Wednesday, and we would do closed session Wednesday. And this, just to be clear for everyone, if we're moving more quickly, we're going to, get as far as we can. And if we're moving more slowly, we might not make it that far. But I just wanted people to, especially our county team, to have some transparency and be able to make a plan. And we have a lot fewer items tomorrow. So if we move some till tomorrow, and we'll have closed session tomorrow, and we'll finish here today around 5:30, 5:45. That's the plan. So that's just for everyone. I know that when I was on the chair, I hated not knowing what the plan was, so that's the plan. Okay, with that, we will be able to move on to discussion items, beginning with item number 1.
That item is entitled Explore Opportunities to Relocate the Spent Nuclear Fuel at the Decommissioned San Onofre Nuclear Generating Station, Songs, to an off-site location for reprocessing, research, and redevelopment. This item was brought forward by Supervisor Desmond.
Supervisor Desmond, do you want to say a couple of words?
Well, yeah, I could, I guess, introduce the item, and then Supervisor Aguirre must have a question or two about it, which is fine. So this item, I'm requesting support for advocacy of research and development of potentially recycling the spent nuclear fuel, not just trying to bury it someplace, which has been in process since the 1960s and still has not gotten to that point. Although what I'm looking at is a parallel path. Right now in my district, there's 1,400 tons and over 100 canisters sitting at the San Onofre site of spent nuclear fuel right now, and with nowhere to go, and it's not going anywhere quick. So what it is I'm trying to do is create a parallel path to where we might be able to use this spent nuclear fuel. The technology has changed and has progressed. So I want to expedite removing the spent nuclear fuel from Songs, and I believe potentially partnering with a national lab for research and development on reprocessing might help in that effort. I want to see the technology used for potentially reprocessing it now and using that spent nuclear fuel moving forward, done right, done safely. But reprocessing it could unlock enormous amounts of energy. That spent nuclear fuel is still cooking for about the next 1,000 years, and those canisters aren't going to last that long. Currently, they're trapped in interim storage all across the United States. At San Onofre, just a few days ago, everything was fine, everything was good, but we had a 3.1 earthquake right along the fault line there. So I'd like to be able to explore utilizing spent nuclear fuel to strengthen and diversify our grid, maybe even lowering energy costs for our working families. So I think it's time that we use technology as it keeps improving to make our community safer, reduce costs, and hopefully give families a break. So we've been talking about this spent nuclear fuel for decades, and we can't just rely on looking at right now for a temporary storage. I say it's time to turn this problem around into potential opportunity. If we can use this, and I've talked to local companies here and out of state as well about the potential of reusing this spent nuclear fuel. The technology is close, so really what I'm asking for is support in the effort to advocate to our legislative lobbyists and others to look for items that would potentially go to reuse that spent nuclear fuel and have a parallel path with trying to move it off-site. Move it or use it, or both. So that was primarily the reason I'll move to approve the item.
We have a motion for approval. I would like to turn to the board member who pulled this item. Please, Supervisor Aguirre.
Thank you, Chair. And thank you, Supervisor Desmond, for bringing this forward. I want to make it very clear from the outset that I intend to offer an amendment, but you'll like it. I think you will. I'm requesting that we pull, obviously we pulled the item. I'm supportive of the county exploring options to address the long-term storage challenges at San Onofre. I think we all share the same concerns. It's a regional concern. We demand thoughtful and responsible consideration and action. That support we need to have the support for this item with clear expectations. We need to set clear expectations because community safety must guide every step of this process. We need assurances that any approach follows best practices for consent-based siting. That means communities hosting potential facilities and communities along the transport routes must be fully informed and must consent. Second, I think it's important that we don't ignore the safety risks associated with testing new uranium reprocessing technologies. These are emerging methods, and I want to ensure that any facility involved, whether transport or reprocessing, demonstrates strong defense, in-depth, rigorous safeguards, and a precautionary approach that protects both workers and nearby residents. Third, my amendment that I will be offering in a second through Andrew, yes, will direct the CAO to include formal support for Congressman Mike Levin's Nuclear Waste Administration Act. Supervisor Desmond, you just mentioned lobbyists and congressional legislation. I think that it behooves us to support this legislation because it would establish an independent nuclear waste administration, strengthen federal consent-based siting requirements, and provide the structural accountability needed to move fuel off-site, but do so safely. Given the unique risks at San Onofre on the long history of federal inaction, supporting this bill is both appropriate and necessary for our region. So yes, I'm supportive of the county exploring this, but also support, I also mentioned that my support is contingent on clear commitments, meaningful community engagement, transparent consent processes, and the highest possible safety standards. Our residents deserve nothing less. So I want to reiterate my gratitude, Supervisor Desmond, and I also want to reiterate my gratitude for Congressman Levin's efforts to spearhead this legislation and other efforts that he's already spearheaded around this particular issue. So my amendment is up on the screen if you'd like to see it. It's basically adding our support for Congressmember Levin's Nuclear Waste Administration Act, and to incorporate this support into all related legislative engagement, analysis, and reports back to the board. Thank you.
Yeah, that's fine. I've already supported his bill.
That's right, yes,
Unfortunately, it hasn't come out, even gone to committee for a couple of years. I've already supported it, and as far as the three things, as far as forming a separate agency and getting community input and things like that, I'm the chair of a committee that's doing that right now. So all of those are fine, and I do support that. It's just, I guess the main difference here is let's also look at reusing and reprocessing this stuff as opposed to just burying it somewhere and picking it up and moving it, which is needs to be done as well, but I'm looking for a parallel path to maybe if we can use this and get more energy out of it, let's explore those opportunities.
So we're on the same page about guardrails regarding reprocessing.
Well, all those things, yes, absolutely.
Great, okay, so you have support for the legislation. Let's formalize it with a friendly amendment to your motion.
Yeah, I'm happy to accept.
Okay,
happy to accept.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor to move this item with an amendment as proposed by Supervisor Aguirre. We will now go to public comment. Is there a second before we go to public comment? This is your motion, yeah? Okay, so we have a motion by Supervisor Desmond, a second by Supervisor Aguirre. Please move to public comment.
Thank you, Chair Lawson-Remer. We have 6 requests to speak on this item, 2 in person and 4 requesting to speak by phone. Also note for the record that we received 2 e-comments, both of those in support. For any individuals that requested to speak on item 1 by phone, please dial into the conference line using the instructions that were provided to you. We'll begin with the in-person speakers. As your name is called, please come forward and stand on the arrows until it is your turn to speak at the podium. You'll have 2 minutes to address the board, and I'll ask you to begin by stating your name for the audio record. I'd like to invite forward Cesar Javier and allegedly Audra.
Thank you, Uncle Sam. To be emphatic, this is addressed to the 5 elected lawful officials. Thank you, sir, for this initiative. This is all about public safety and at the same time, public welfare. That's the other side of it. I only doubt ourselves because there is more of priority. If there is that onopre threat to our environment and the advantage of producing more beneficial things, have we not thought of doing budgeting money to clean up the Tijuana River Valley issue? This is addressed to all 5. Ma'am Rimmer, can we not disorganize this APCD, which is failing? 1993 issue, San Onofre has been there equally at the same time. In fact, they made it or decommissioned it, but the waste now is the issue. What about the unintended consequences of the pollution? I think that's more priority to pour our resources. Sirs, ma'am, that's our issue. Community issue, parallel. Ceramics kiln issue in our community. What have you done? What have we done that includes us? We are here to help you, helping ourselves, sir. Ma'am, we plead, we petition, we pray, we hope. It's all here. Patterns of governance. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
My person uses the name Audra. It's interesting to see the things that you guys want to do when people are suffering in our communities. How much is this going to cost us? Billions of dollars, Jim? Hundreds of millions? Potentially, right? And it could potentially be a natural, or not a natural disaster, you would probably claim it is, but a massive disaster if there was some kind of a leak in the transportation of it, or, you know, doing the recycling. What kind of, you know, toxicity comes from these plants? I mean, we don't really care about stuff like that. Look at the TJ River Valley, look at Salton Sea with the lithium mining that we do, that we use our fresh water for, is totally toxic to the people that are right in that area, but it doesn't matter because we're going to make money, right? So as long as we make money on the recycling, it doesn't matter how many people potentially could lose their lives, even just from being the ones that move it. How cool, right? I'm just wondering, Jim, are you going to be paying for this? Because, you know, there's homeless people that could potentially use a home. People don't need to have their homes taken. People don't need to have all of their SNAP benefits taken. There's so many things that people in the community are suffering, and we just, you know, kind of put a Band-Aid on it and then go and do things that are going to cost us billions of dollars that we don't even have. It's like your little AI, right? Let's bring in AI and spend 1/8 of our budget on it. Right? But we care about the people and them suffering. So it's going to be interesting to see what a mess this turns out to be. And we already know with the Tijuana River Valley that you guys will take decades just to clean it up. So, and I wonder how much that will also cost us. It doesn't really matter because it's not coming from you guys, right? If you guys were the ones paying for it, I bet you wouldn't bring this kind of bullshit forward, would you? Probably not. But yeah, so it's going to be interesting to see the disaster this creates, and you guys will make so much money. Good job.
Thank you. We'll now hear from the individuals that requested to speak by phone. We'll start with our first caller.
Okay, Consuelo, don't interrupt me, please. Thank you. Okay, relocating the spent nuclear fuel at San Onofre. Okay, this is one of the biggest environmental and public safety risks in our entire region. It's been going on forever, just like the TJ River sewage issue, and it has been ignored for far too long. Storing nuclear waste on an eroding coastline is not a temporary solution, it's negligence. And honestly, the situation at San Onofre, along with the ongoing sewage disaster in TJ at the TJ River, are both clear examples of how incompetent, careless, and late to act our local government has been for decades. Two massive environmental crises, both ignored until they became impossible to hide. This is a pattern. And well, let's talk about solutions, okay? So because there are solutions and there are already existing technologies, including conversion methods like the ones being explored at Hanford in Washington that can transform certain forms of spent nuclear fuel into, nuclear fuel into gas or less harmful materials. This isn't science fiction. It's already being studied and implemented. And if one facility can explore it, others absolutely can. And Paul already sent you this information on October 2nd, so hopefully you all received that. And I guarantee there are more methods out there because brilliant, innovative alternatives have been, wait, where am I? Okay, so basically the issue is not the absence of options. The issue is political will. Every time a real environmental...
Thank you. Hear from the next caller.
All bold, you need to get rid of the spent nuclear waste at San Onofre. The nuclear waste sitting there in corrosive salt water or even on the beach, it's potentially dangerous. Don't know how long the canisters holding it will last even. So it's something that needs to be done. I sent the 5 of you and the public site an email on October 2nd describing the process to turn spent nuclear fuel into glass in use at Hanford and Washington State. I suspect there are a lot of other methods of converting nuclear waste into something less harmful too that I don't know why you've ignored them so long. I think that the safety risks, the community concerns, and all that stuff will be taken care of during the exploration of ways to reduce this waste. So let's not delay, waste time, or set up committee after committee like you've done with the TJ stuff. Just go for it. Thanks.
We'll now hear from the next caller.
It's completely clear based off the last election and the fact that we didn't have any reporting districts. I mean, Carl DeMaio basically knows that people can switch stuff and replace ballots. I mean, we had like 200 to 300 based off of one little tiny boundary. Imagine if all of you guys actually chose to have reporting districts that we used to have all the time. How many ballots would have came back with the wrong ballot type? Kind of curious. Would you be able to certify that election if you were to actually track that down? I don't think you can. Not at all. But you guys went ahead and, ACLU helped out with that, correct? They wrote out rules to make sure that, we could go ahead and create a trafficking pipeline, correct? I mean, they get paid $8,000 to $10,000 every form that they fill out, as long as they get rid of the kid within 18 months. You don't really have to check and verify that that kid is safe. But this will help out with, getting people around and, finding more and more fraudulent ballots that harvesters could basically fill out, switch out, and the registrar of voters is just going to go ahead and remake them, right? They remake them to the right ballot type when there's no way to find out which ballot that was. Isn't that correct? So basically, the reason why you never answer my question is that you guys cover up fraud. Flat out, 100%. Every Congress, Senate, Assembly, City Council, city person all chose not to have reporting districts because this would show that. Anyone could go ahead and take a look at our statistics, and we could go ahead and see 300 people had to replace their ballots because it came back with the wrong ballot type. That's amazing. You mail out ballot type number 5, it comes back ballot type number 52. No problem here, right? And we're not going to go ahead and check.
Thank you. For the record, the speaker is Gambler Hermes. And Chair Lawson-Rima, that concludes public comment on this item.
Okay, thank you very much. We have a motion and a second. Please vote.
Chair Lawson-Rima, that motion passes unanimously with all supervisors being present and voting aye.
Okay, now we're moving on to item 13. I think it was Supervisor Anderson who pulled this. Yeah. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I had some questions about it. I went and looked through it. I didn't understand the logic. So to start off, we have a deposit of $1,000. When, as I understand this, and please correct me if I'm wrong, when a person, in order to participate in the auction, they have to give us $1,000. If they win, that $1,000 goes towards the purchase of the property.
Correct.
If they fail to purchase upon winning the bid, we keep the $1,000.
Correct.
Based on how many people fail to pay, we may be above or below the cost of collecting our cost, because there's a opportunity cost. That property now has to go to the next sale.
Correct.
It has to be re-advertised, although that's not a big cost. But we've lost the tax that we would have received had it been sold for that 90-day or 6-month period. So we used to have a deposit of $5,000 before, when it was in person, before COVID.
Correct.
Why would we go to punish people for failure to complete the bids when the policy was $5,000 prior? Because the idea was there'd be more serious buyers, and it totally covered the cost, no matter how many people failed together. So why aren't you all asking to increase it to $5,000 as opposed to increasing it to $25,000 if they fail 3 times and punish them, saying that they can no longer bid for 5 years? Why don't we remove the unqualified bidders from the beginning? It seems to me it'd be a lot smoother and straighter to just increase it to $5,000. If I'm purchasing a home for $500,000 in the private sector, and I put down a deposit, my deposit's $5,000. Nobody's accepting $1,000 as a deposit on a condo or a house or a townhome of $1,000 anymore. It's all moved to $5,000. So instead of us losing potentially money, why wouldn't we just move to $5,000?
That's a good question. There's a lot in there. Thank you for the opportunity to answer your question. When our deposit amount was $5,000, we were conducting the sales in person at the convention center. The cost to conduct the sales in person was much greater than they are now that we're conducting the sales online. On average, we're spending about $850 to $1,300 per parcel to conduct the sale. That is the county's cost of activities that are taking place in order to conduct the sale. And so it depends on what type of property we're selling. If it's an improved property where there's a structure on it and we have to conduct a site visit to visit owner who may be occupying the property, the cost to conduct the sale is about $1,300. If it's an unimproved property, we don't need to do a site visit. It's about $850. So on average, it's about $1,000 per parcel to perform all of the activities if you add it all up. And part of your question was, why don't we eliminate the unqualified bidders? Well, what we do is when there's a bidder.
Eliminate them by having a $5,000 as opposed to $1,000. I went fast.
Okay.
The notion of the 5,000 wasn't because it's in person. It's because if I fail to complete the bid that I do, you lose the $5,000. So
Correct.
It's a greater penalty on the front end.
Mm-hmm.
Some people, as to avoid, if they have a large property, I don't know how often it happens, but it has happened, they will make an artificial bid, knowing it's going to cost them $1,000, and then that buys them time and puts us through all this rhetoric. And so you have a penalty that's going to go to $25,000. And why wouldn't we just do the $5,000 up front, eliminate some of the riffraff who aren't qualified? Because if I don't win the bid, my $5,000 is returned to me, correct?
Correct.
So yes. I'm not out anything, but if I don't have $5,000 in my checking account to give you, or on my credit card, in credit, chances are I'm going to be problematic.
That's an excellent point. It is the county's discretion to determine the deposit amount. When we determined it to be $1,000, we began conducting the sale online, and we wanted to attract bidders. So that was our way of attracting more bidders by making the amount $1,000. We have an opportunity to increase the deposit amount if we so desire.
I like the idea of attracting as many bidders as possible, provided they're qualified bidders, and that we're not having to penalize them with $25,000. It seems to me if we just eliminate them from the beginning, it would make more sense to me. Then we're going about it in a way that we're going to lose money, and then we're going to penalize them out of the process. When shouldn't we just avoid it from the beginning by going back to the 5,000?
You have a good point. There's a lot of thought that goes into this. When we have a property that we suspect is being challenged by a current owner, in your example, where perhaps someone just put down $1,000 and then they didn't finalize their sale. When we anticipate that, we have to identify those properties before we raise the deposit amount to $25,000. We don't know that until we see that kind of activity happening, maybe once or twice. Then we'll increase it to $25,000. We've done that for several sales, and since we've done that, the bidders who have put down those $25,000 deposits have been very serious, and we haven't had any of those forfeit. So no one has lost $25,000.
And then my final question, when our bid was $5,000, did we have more or fewer people fail to fulfill their bid?
It really depends on which properties are in the sale. So that's hard to say, but I can tell you that in the last sale, we had 15 bidders who forfeited. So 15 bidders who failed to finalize the sale. In some years, we've had 1 or 2 bidders who failed to finalize the sale. So it's really hard to say how many we had before versus how many we have now. It could be different every year.
Well, thank you very much. And by the way, thank you very much for answering the questions that we sent to you in advance. So thank you for that, because that was helpful to me. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Any other questions?
No, not for me. Madam Chair, I'd like to make an amendment to this to move the deposits from $1,000 to $5,000 as the deterrent for people that fail to pay after they win the bid. All the stuff that they have is punitive after the fact. I think that preventative would be far better than being punitive. I'm okay with moving forward with the punitive stuff, but that's only after somebody's failed to do it 3 times to the $25,000. And if they do it again after, they're prohibited from bidding for 5 years, according to this. It strikes me that we had better success when people had to do $5,000 to start the bidding process. And remember, if you don't win the bid, you get your $5,000 back. So if you do win the bid, we're going to spend more than $5,000 most likely for that property. So it's not like we're asking people to do something onerous, but the notion that people are gaming the system by spending the $1,000, knowing that they're going to lose the $1,000, but they're buying time with the property. So I'd like to make that amendment to this, and that's my motion.
Okay, any comments from my colleagues? It looks like Supervisor Desmond is, has some questions.
Yeah, I appreciate the logic, and it does make sense, but I don't know enough about the internal workings of the department to know enough that that's the right thing to do. I'd like to, if you want to bring this item back or something like that, because I'm not confident in myself voting yes or no. I'm okay the way it is, but I'd like to maybe hear more from staff at a later point in time, not necessarily at a meeting, but at the before I take a vote up or down on this. So I appreciate the intent, but I need more information to make that decision. Thank you.
Supervisor Montgomery Step.
Yeah, no, thank you for diving into this. I do feel like there's so many assumptions attached to whether someone can pay $1,000 versus $5,000, and we're assuming a lot that I'm not comfortable with hanging a vote on that change, just based on what was brought before us, the judgment, of the office, how they have done things, making sure it sounds like it's pretty much cost recoverable, but really not anything above that, which I think is still the right approach. We have a lot of conversations about being very fair on this dais, and I just there may be an unintended consequence in a decision being made based off of assumption. I'm thinking about like nonprofits that may want to purchase for, I don't know, a specific use. How would that change their budget? There are just so many situations that I think are not being considered in that change. That I certainly understand the intent and appreciate it, but there's just too many assumptions that haven't been proven behind that. So I would support as is. Thank you.
Okay, Vice Chair Montgomery Step wants to support the item as is without an amendment. I think it sounds like Supervisor Desmond would be interested in continuing the item for the other day. Supervisor Anderson would like to make an amendment. Supervisor Geary, do you have thoughts?
I would like more information. I'm open to maybe continuing the item and having a broader discussion on it, because I see the logic that you put before us, and there may be unintended consequences, and I just don't have enough information right now to make an assertive decision one way or the other. But I'm open to consideration moving forward.
Okay, Supervisor Desmond seems to have questions for Deirdre.
Okay, if we delay this to next month, or I guess not next month, in 2 weeks to come back, is that going to, have you already advertised the sale? Have you already put all this out? That would mess things up for this particular process right now, or what do you need?
So we have the discretion to set the deposit at what we would like to set it at any time. TTC has that discretion. So my question was going to be whether this $5,000 deposit that you're recommending would be only for this auction, or would it be for future auctions going forward? Because we determine that every year. We do our calculations to determine.
But if we were to say 5,000 today, or if we were to say bring this back in 2 weeks, and that wouldn't
It would actually
delay
be-
this auction, would it?
Just to clarify.
Not this auction, but it would be very close, because as soon as you approve, if this item is approved, we're going to start advertising, we're going to start preparing the auction site, and we have to put those deposit amounts there.
I just want to make sure Deirdre is able to answer the questions specifically. Our next meeting, I think, would not be till the 13th of January. So if this, so I think Supervisor Justin, just to clarify, we're not bringing back on Christmas. So yes, so I think to just clarify Supervisor Desmond's question, if this was brought back on the 13th of January, what impact would that have on the existing specific auction?
It could delay our advertising and preparing for the auction.
Okay.
They could move this auction forward under the current rules they have, and we could discuss this moving forward. What they're asking for are additional after-the-fact penalties when people fail, as opposed to preventatively suggesting that we don't allow unqualified people. So the only difference is if a person, like a corporation, were to say that we're going to bid on these properties, and if I may ask, we're not talking about 50 cents, right?
No, well, we do have quite a few timeshares that are in the auction, and those range from $100 to roughly $2,000. But in the other properties, improved and unimproved properties, they can range from anywhere from $1,000 to $800,000. So it just depends on the property.
The notion of somebody coming in and they're going to spend $1,000 on a property, they're not the ones that are, I don't have the data, so, but I would think that if you put $1,000 down, you're going to fulfill the $100 or $1,000 requirement. If you put $1,000 down and you're bidding on a property that's over $500,000, you may not be a serious buyer. Mm-hmm. If you put $5,000 down, and if you look at the real estate market of how private actions are done, the good faith money is $5,000 minimum now, not $1,000. So if we were to follow the market, you don't want people making bids that have no intention of fulfilling them, right?
I think we have a hand in the queue from Supervisor Montgomery Stepp.
I do appreciate the conversation based on Ms. Williams' explanation of what this will do as far as their operations for this time around. I'm going to go ahead and move the item as it is stated in the agenda at this time, because I don't think we have a second supervisor. So I'm just going to move it as is, as was presented by the office.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion, a second. I'll just make a couple of comments. I think it seems wise to move forward so we can move forward this auction, but I also think this is a good point that Supervisor Desmond has, Supervisor Anderson has raised. So I would be inclined to support the item as is today, but if there's a path for Supervisor Anderson to work with the office to see if we could look at this again in a couple months or next month or whenever, seems like a good point, but I also don't want to delay the auction.
My intention is not to delay the auction, but adding additional penalties on the back end does not prevent a waste of time of staff and all the costs. Mm-hmm. We need to recover those costs.
Deirdre, would you be willing to work with Supervisor Anderson to explore his proposal around the 5,000?
Yes.
She's been very helpful.
Okay.
So
fantastic.
Yes.
We've sent a bunch of questions. We drilled down. They were so quick in getting back solid answers. I think this eventually will come to a philosophical difference. I want to prevent it. They want to punish it. So I think that's the philosophical difference.
Okay.
And just to answer your question about working with Supervisor Anderson, we are certainly happy to work with you. However, in this board letter, if we're setting the amount at 1,000, then it would be 1,000 for this auction, but we can consider a different deposit amount for the next auction.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you so much. Thank you for being here and helping educate us on this very important and a little bit arcane practice at the county. So
You're
thank you so much. We have a motion on the floor in a second. I think we need to go to public comment.
Thank you, Chair Lawson-Remer. We have 6 requests to speak on this item, 1 in person and 5 requesting to speak by phone. Also note for the record that we received 1 e-comment in support. For any individuals that requested to speak on item 13 by phone, please dial into the conference line using the instructions that were provided to you. We'll begin with the in-person speaker. I'd like to invite forward allegedly Audra. You'll have 2 minutes to address the board.
My person uses the name Audrey. Yeah, this is it is so wrong. You guys take people's homes and then you auction them off and nothing. It is just really sad to see what happens because it's like, you guys sit here and you raise taxes. I mean, it's like the city putting on trash onto property tax and stuff like that. So you guys sit here and you constantly put people in dire straits so they can't even afford to decide if they can eat or, you know, do whatever, drive around because everything is so expensive. And then you guys take people's properties. And I mean, just thinking about something being sold for $100, like what? You're not willing to, you know, make sure that these people can get help. I mean, you claim that you want to go after all of these big companies, but there's companies that aren't paying their taxes, aren't paying their bills, and nothing happens to them except for, you know, the people in the community are the ones suffering because of all the things you guys do, and then you come and you take their home. And it's interesting because last year, or the beginning of this year, 637 properties were sold, and you guys got $16.3 million. And you have 166 more homes, and it's like, let's think about the COVID days when everything was shut down and people were just trying to survive then. And now we're in the same place, and you guys only give them 5 years. I don't feel like you guys do enough to make sure that they can keep their property, especially if it's $100. And you're just gonna sell it, and then they lose all of the equity and everything that they put into it. It's really sad, actually, to see the way that you guys talk about this kind of stuff because, you know, you really care about your revenue, but you don't really care about people suffering because you exploit people every day that you do stuff, and you sit there and you profess and virtue signal like you actually care. You don't. So it's just sad that you guys are going to continue on your shenanigans until people wake the frick up.
Thank you. We'll now hear from the individuals that requested to speak by phone. We'll start with our first caller.
Okay, Consuelo here. So do we have 2 minutes or 1 minute, Andrew?
2 minutes.
Okay, thanks. Okay, so this is one of the most saddest items I've seen. And we're talking about people losing their homes, sometimes after 5, 10, 15 years of hardship, only to have them sold online. These aren't just numbers. They are families, communities, and lives being disrupted by a system that claims to serve the public. And it's insane how many ways local government uses people's own property against them. Can't pay a tax fee or some new fee they randomly create out of nowhere, suddenly your property is at risk. Despite the public, the majority of residents opposing these taxes, they're still passed and imposed, and it's a sick system, like I've said for so long now, designed to fail. Yep, designed so the people inevitably lose their property. This is government in a nutshell. Even if notices were mailed, life happens. People struggle, and instead of support, the system punishes them. Millions collected in prior auctions now down to a fraction. The human cost is invisible to the powers that be. And on top of that, this fits a bigger agenda. Policies like these normalize loss, consolidate wealth, and control property. The UN agenda and the World Economic Forum promise people you will owe nothing and be happy. But the reality is the exact opposite. We cannot treat these auctions as routine. They are evidence of a system built to strip people of their property, ignore public opposition, and protect profit over people. And it's heartbreaking. It's unacceptable, and it demands accountability. It's pretty fucked up, really. What else do I have to say? Yeah, I'm done.
Thank you. We'll hear from the next caller.
Bold. I see from attachment B that the property owners have all been in default 5 years or up to 15 years. Not sure how that happened. And the board letter says they all got multiple notices mailed to them, so things seem good to go, technically. The prior sales statistics are interesting, that the May 2017 and 18 auctions brought in over $5 million, but the last sale was only a puny $1 million. Hope this sale goes better. On the other hand, there is a lot wrong with selling a home for $100 just because of an unpaid bill. It's not a good system. It should be reformed. I mean, you know, you can do better and need to. It is pathetic that the auction deposit is kept, as I understand it, if the bidder isn't the highest one. That may be why there are so few bidders. Maybe instead of dollar amount, the deposit should be a percent of the asking price. The county should absorb the costs, not decrease the savings of low-income bidders. It adds to the housing crisis. You should be attracting bidders, not discouraging them. The auction is all online anyway, so there are few costs if there are more bidders. The thing for now, it looks good to go, but like I say, it's not a good system to sell a home for $100 just because of an unpaid bill. Thank you.
Thank you. Now hear from the next caller.
Hey there, Truth. Now that my mom gave her official rear-end kiss to her campaign funders at UDW, I actually wish this item was Manuela's tax delinquent property and I'd be up for auction. That might actually get me excited to talk about it. A $1,000 deposit that goes to purchase of other people's properties. If you win, it's a county profit, but no data. Joel's not satisfied. He wants to go back to $5,000 for the county doing less work. It sounds like imitating the city of San Diego was trying to fill a budget gap due to a complete mismanagement of our tax dollars. You guys are doing less. Why do you deserve more? Oh, it's preventative, though, right? So let's talk about a preventative for Manuela not paying her property taxes. Why can't other people get relief like that? Why don't they get plans like that? Oh, it's only when you're a supervisor, right? All of a sudden the rules are bent for you, completely bent, much like how this board operates. This all seems contradictory to item 9 about ensuring residents have homes to live in. Item 13 even allows the county to sell people's properties while they're still living in them. It's interesting to hear the 3 people on the board who have multiple properties so easily talk about taking people's homes. And Tara, what about that extra property you have under an NGO name? You know what I'm talking about? Is that why Manuela brought up the NGO thing? I could get that information if you'd like. I could make that very public. Maybe you should come out with it first. Besides corrupt NGO profiteers having an opportunity to buy a communist headquarters on the cheap, tax-defaulted property sales by the county also enables big corporate developers to buy homes on the cheap, to halfway flip them or turn them into ADUs or stack and pack projects and run away with big profits back to other states that have low taxes. Why don't you get some data on that and report back to us? Thank you.
Thank you. We'll now hear from the final caller.
Right before Michael Vu fired me, he found out I was an INTP. I explained that to you thousands and thousands of times. My actions are explained through that. Basically, the doom brain, you understand that, right? Now, the funny thing is, the day after I had to go to court, everything clicked in place. 100%. I know exactly how you guys are stealing the ballots. I know how you guys are basically making money funneling kids to who knows where, right? $8,000 to $10,000 each one. And then now you go ahead and make our lives living hell so that we can't even afford our houses, and then you take them away and sell them to the lowest bidder. But here's the thing. The people that are only going to be basically buying this are the ones that you made deals with, correct? You want to make sure that they get the property so that they can go ahead and give out some of the property to, let's just say, Tara, right? Just for doing a good job taking other people's property away. I mean, it's kind of obvious now that you guys work for the NGOs, not the people. I mean, it's very easy. Just look at those 200, 300 and go, oh, damn, we have a big problem. We should not certify that election because the next election is going to have a lot more ballot types. And that number is going to be a lot larger. And basically, everyone is going to know about it at that point, and we're just going to waste millions of dollars doing an election that we cannot count, especially with so many people going to know exactly how it's doing. I mean, Carl DeMaio wants to go ahead and profit off of my idea without even actually understanding it. That's the funny friggin' thing. He also wants to give me a restraining order backed off of yours that is seeming to possibly crumbling as we see it. Because, you know, what happens when an INTP completes that loop?
Again, for the record, the speaker is Gambler Hermes, and Chair Lawson-Remer, that concludes public comment on this item.
Okay, thank you. We have a motion and a second. Please vote.
Chair Lawson-Remer, that motion passes unanimously with all supervisors being present and voting aye.
Okay, thank you very much. We now move on to item 20.
This is a second consideration and adoption of ordinance adding Article 25 of the San Diego County Code of Administrative Ordinances relating to law enforcement access to county facilities.
Okay, I think almost everyone wanted to pull this item, so it sounded like we have a number of board members who wanted to make comments. I think Supervisor Geary, were you the initial person who pulled it, or was it Supervisor Anderson?
I'll defer to all the other speakers.
Okay, that's fine. I have some comments to be made. I think this is a really good initial draft, but I do think that there were some elements that were omitted upon the first drafting. So first of all, I just want to say there's been a lot of feedback and I think discussion among stakeholders on this item. I've gotten a lot of outreach, and in that process, I thought that there was important to ask for some additional elements to be included in the ordinance. So I do support the ordinance for the most part as written, but with some amendments and some additions. And I acknowledge and understand that if we do make these amendments today, the ordinance will need to be redrafted and we'll have to come back for another first reading in the future. So if we can, why don't we go ahead? I had shared with Andrew what these amendments would look like. We could put these on the screen as a jumping off point for a conversation. If there's any other immediate comments from board members, we can do that now. And then before taking motions or seconds or whatnot, we will go to public comments. Yeah. So I'm just wanted to Thank you, Paloma. Thank you. We're all with you. We're all right there with you. I'll let everyone read for a moment. You want to scroll down? Yeah. Sorry, it's long.
Madam Chair, it may be helpful if, when the staff comes back, if these amendments are accepted, that we attribute if there's any potential cost to them.
That's happy to do that. Okay. And again, I know this is written with a lot of detail. This was clearly, put together with quite a significant input from stakeholders. I'm not going to make a formal motion at this time. I do want to hear from my colleagues and public comment, but previewing that the motion I will make would be to move forward with the ordinance, but with these amendments, and ask County Council to come back with a revised version of the ordinance for a first reading. But before we move on to public comment, do any of my colleagues have any comments that they wanted to raise? Because a lot of people seem to want to pull this. Okay, great. We'll go to public comment. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair Lawson-Raymer. We have 7 requests to speak on this item, 2 in person and 5 requesting to speak by phone. Also note for the record that we received 2 e-comments, both of those in opposition. For any individuals that requested to speak on item 20 by phone, please dial into the conference line using the instructions that were provided to you. We'll begin with our in-person speakers. I'd like to invite forward Cesar Javier and allegedly Audra. You'll have 2 minutes to address the board, and I'll ask you to begin by stating your name for the audio record.
Cesar and Purita, community advocacy, volunteer, learner, teacher, learner. To us, this item 20, which just pulled out and placed for discussion, facilities like jail, prison, detention center, shelter. Yes, it's a concept of public safety measure. Yes, public service. Facilities are shelters. They are temporary home for humans, regardless of state and condition. And it has to have clean air for the sheltered, clean water for the sheltered, clean food for the shelter, clean surroundings for the shelter, and I mentioned public safety. They must have access legally, socially, psychologically, if only to ensure that that shelter is clean and safe. I say this as an analogy or metaphor as we suffer, victims of fear, public safety related to our community issue.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next speaker, please.
My person uses the name Audrey. You guys love aiding and abetting. It's great, right? Follow the state and local law, but screw the federal law, right? Because these people did not come here illegally at all. Right, Jim? Anywho, it's interesting to see what you do for our replacements. And so I was wondering if you could add a few things to this, because I think even with your wellness and preparedness training that you're going to be doing on Thursday and Friday, you should really let these families know that your child trafficking network could potentially come after their children. And then you would put them into foster care, because that also happens with unaccompanied minors, right? We just put them through that system because it brings in the big bucks, right, from Social Security. What a lucrative business. But I really feel like you need to let them know that. And to add further protections, not just for county buildings, for homes, for people to make sure that law enforcement, like the police, the sheriff, the marshals, you know, whoever, federal agents that come in and tear families apart, they come and they, you know, go take the kids and then put them into places like the Polinsky Center. So maybe you could warn those parents that their children could potentially be sexually, physically, or mentally abused there, because that would be horrific if it happened to these families. Right? I mean, we have to protect them. So I feel like if you guys could expand your reach and make sure that you are doing your due diligence to protect these illegal alien families, you know, you could just show them what you're doing to the American families, right? And say, you're lucky that you're not actually an American, because this is what we do to Americans. We don't protect them, but we will protect you guys. So make sure they don't actually become an American at that point, right? Because then they're gonna have to suffer the same things. Right, Monica?
Thank you. We'll now hear from the individuals that requested to speak by phone. We'll start with our first caller.
All aboard. It is clear that ICE and the Border Patrol, BPS, have far exceeded their legal authority and engaged in overtly hostile and violent activity. But this proposed ordinance doesn't do the job. The agents who break due process laws, use unlawful force and violence, or arrest American citizens without bothering to verify their citizenship first should be prosecuted individually. The Section 967 exceptions in this ordinance make it essentially unenforceable, such as the inspection laws. Federal law enforcement agency personnel or out-of-state law enforcement personnel could simply claim it's an inspection under regulatory authority, just as they've lied so often in the past. It's saying, quote, in response to an immediate threat to life or public safety, pursuant to a narrowly tailored policy adopted by the chief administrative officer, and quote, without specifying the policy, is so vague that it wouldn't stand up in court. Similarly, agents at airports should not be accepted generically, Section 970. I have read that some of these ICE arrests are at airports. But now that ICE and BPS are under extreme fire for their lies and unconstitutional actions, my inclination is to let them self-implode. And maybe it will do so before you amend and reintroduce this ordinance and save us.
Thank you. Now hear from the next caller.
Consuelo. Okay, so this proposed ordinance doesn't actually fix the problem. And the bigger picture is because this isn't just about ICE or one ordinance, this is about a system that is shifting towards centralized power and weakening local authority step by step. Our local governments say they're protecting residents, but at the same time, they're allowing federal agencies to bypass accountability using vague language and undefined policies. And that's a pattern. Create fear, expand federal reach, chip away at due process, and normalize surveillance and control. And so, yeah, this has been going on for decades at the border, and mass data collection through Homeland Security expansions, and now loopholes like this one. So every time we allow vague expectations like imminent threat, we hand over more of our local sovereignty. And that plays directly into the global push towards centralized systems of control, where local communities have no authority, no boundaries, and no protections. Call it what you want, but the direction is unmistakable. Less independence, less transparency, and more power handed upward. So if this county actually wants to protect residents from illegal overreach, then write a law that cannot be twisted, exploited, or ignored. Because what's happening now is not protection. It's permission. New World Order. UN agenda.
Thank you. Hear from the next caller.
Hey, it's Truth. I propose renaming this item to the anti-ICE ordinance or the anti-law enforcement ordinance or the pro-illegal immigration ordinance, or maybe even the pro-murder ordinance. There should be transparency what the county is about to pass. A list of so-called stakeholders should also be publicly disclosed so we can know who was really behind this. The long additions tariff just added should have been publicly released, a week, a month ago, a year ago, so we could actually know what you're going to discuss. But so far, the amendments are laughable. It says if the sharing of data is necessary and relevant, then law enforcement will have it. Talk about typical tariff political theater. Amendment A2 is just a reiteration of SB 54. Totally meaningless. Amendment B2 says there will be cooperation with federal law enforcement or even out-of-state law enforcement, such as, say, from the great state of Texas, when there's an imminent threat to life or public safety. Well, illegal immigration has been an imminent threat. There's a reason 17,000 driver's licenses have been pulled in California. We just had 2 hit and runs that resulted in dead children thanks to illegal aliens. And that was in, less than 2 weeks' time? Back-to-back murders of children. Amendment 4 on posting up signs that ICE is going to ignore. What's the cost of that? Why does Tara have an obsession with signs? Let's read the Council Con summary of proposed ordinance. We'll just read the first part. This ordinance will impose restrictions on access to non-public areas of county facilities by law enforcement. By law enforcement. That's interesting. So you're going to have huge entry preventions to regular people, but you don't want law enforcement to come into the building. Amazing. No to enabling illegal immigration.
Thank you. We'll now hear from the final caller.
We already know who the stakeholders are, right? I mean, as soon as we could get to, as soon as I could go ahead and remove that restraining order, I'm going to go ahead and place the documents that I have researched into order so that making sure that the County of San Diego knows exactly how voter fraud is done, how we are siphoning all our money into basically a very few groups of people. Isn't that true? I mean, you could take a look at like everything that we're passing. I mean, hell, out of the ones that we're doing right now, you're ramming that through so damn quickly. Why is that? You're worried that the pipeline is going to get closed down? But here's the thing. Your actions on me, if you don't go ahead and, you know, look into our election seriously, indicates that you have violated Election Law 18500 series multiple times. Just letting you know that. I've given you the laws that you can go ahead and quickly shut this out because there is fraud enough to go ahead and disqualify this election. But you chose to go ahead and have only 2 ballot styles. Each one of you chose not to have your reporting districts. Carl DeMaio did the same thing, and he knows about this problem. So basically, all of you guys are working together in order to steal our voices away from us. That is the truth, unless if you want to go ahead and say something other than that. If you want to come up with another explanation on why someone would return.
And that caller hung up. Chair Lawson-Remer, that concludes public comment on this item.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you for all the public comments. It looks like in the queue we have Supervisor Desmond.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Appreciate it. I didn't vote for this ordinance in the first place, and I'm not going to be supporting it again because primarily it restricts law enforcement from certain parts of the county facilities, and it restricts cooperation between law enforcement agencies. I mean, the first line of the legal summary for this ordinance reads, "This ordinance will impose restrictions on access to non-public areas of county facilities by law enforcement." Law enforcement should have access to every facility where if there's a dangerous individual, period. When we tie the hands of law enforcement, we make our communities less safe. In the recent years, we had millions of people come across the border into our country unvetted. In San Diego County, we had over 150,000 people dropped at the Iris Avenue transit station that were not properly vetted. And because of California sanctuaries laws, local law enforcement is prohibited from working with federal immigration authorities to detain dangerous individuals while they're already in custody or under arrest. That means ICE can't simply pick up the phone and get notified and take into custody someone in a controlled and safe environment. Instead, they're forced into the neighborhoods and school parking lots around families who track ICE agents down. In the last 2 weeks, 2 children, an 8-year-old and an 11-year-old, were killed by illegal immigrants, one of which was deported multiple times, and the other one had multiple DUIs. But when the person, particularly with the DUIs, was pulled over the second time for the DUI, local law enforcement is prohibited from letting ICE know this person is under arrest here with a DUI, but they can't do that. These types of individuals should not be back on our streets, and this is not a law enforcement failure. It's a failure created in Sacramento. More restrictions, less communication, even fewer tools for law enforcement, once again, are only going to make our communities more dangerous and more unsafe. We all want fewer raids. We don't like seeing these raids. We'd like to have safer neighborhoods and real public safety. But we've got to allow law enforcement to work together. Let them communicate, let them act, let them remove dangerous individuals from custody, not from parking lots or schools or even grocery stores. If you remember when 9/11 happened, they had a 9/11 committee. A 9/11 committee came forward. They tried to figure out, okay, what went wrong? How do we prevent this from happening again? And the major theme of what went wrong over 9/11 was the overall lack of communication and cooperation of law enforcement agencies. The FBI, the CIA, the NSA, and including local and law enforcement agencies were not, each one of them had a piece of the puzzle, but they weren't putting it together. I can't support this because it restricts law enforcement's access and actions that need to be taken place. So I'll be voting no on the item. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Supervisor Geary.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have just a clarifying question regarding Amendment 3, addressing exemptions to contractor compliance as it relates to the exceptions to these requirements would be granted, of course, by the Board of Supervisors or by the Director of Purchasing and Contracting or Director of General Services based on exigent circumstances. Can you elaborate a little bit more on what would that look like and in what situations that would be the case?
I think that's directed to the CIO or the ACIO.
Yeah,
Certainly. Stepping in to fill in today. Thank you so much for the question, Chair Pro Tem. Yeah, this would allow staff a little bit of the flexibility in case there were a situation that arose at a building that we provide contracted services or a building that our staff in, if there was an emergency or things, that they could make that finding on the spot without needing to protect the safety and things like that. So this gives them the opportunity for that flexibility real time.
But this would be regarding exemptions to what we're requiring.
Right, and I can defer to council if they have additional things added to the definition.
Thank you, Caroline. Chair Lawson, Chair Pro Tem Aguirre, I'm going to turn it over to Senior Deputy Mark Day to answer that question. Mark?
Yes, that is correct. It allows for waivers to be made to the contracting requirements of the ordinance under those exigent circumstances.
Can I just, I think would be helpful.
I couldn't hear you, I'm sorry.
Oh, I apologize. Chair Pro Tem Aguirre, it allows for waivers to be made by those officials under exigent circumstances to the contracting requirements of the ordinance.
I think
sorry.
I want to echo, I think when we got feedback from staff, there was some reasons that you all felt like there might be an emergency where you would need to waive these requirements. I think it would be helpful for the public and for the rest of the board to better understand what are some of those emergencies, those exigent circumstances that you could imagine emergent.
So, for example, there could be a critical contract where a gap in service could disrupt county operations, and there would be insufficient time to approach the board for approval. Or it could be an emergency contracting situation as well.
But it would be a situation where an emergency would require the Director of Purchasing and Contract or the Director of General Services to not abide by what we are requiring them to do. So I'm trying to understand what that exigent circumstance would look like for them not to be able to continue our what we're requiring them to do and issue an exemption.
So one example might be if there's a contractor that's critical to county operations and they are unwilling or unable to accept one of those required contract provisions that is to be included in every contract. And if they are an essential contractor and there's insufficient time to get board approval for a waiver, the director of DGS or DPC would be able to make that waiver themselves in order to continue county operations.
Can I suggest perhaps to ask Caroline, would it be feasible, these seem like operational questions rather than legal questions, so I think it would be helpful, because I don't know our lawyers know the operational reasons. I think it would be helpful to get Brian up here if we could, so we can get clarity for Chair Pro Tem's questions. That would be great. So maybe we can hold your questions, have Brian come up, if there's other kind of conversations with the board. Okay, fantastic. Any other comments from any of my colleagues? It's fair. You are doing your job, and I think yes. So I think these are all very good questions. Excellent questions, actually. Now, if seeing no comments by my colleagues, Caroline, do you have a kind of a sense of, would it be better, should we wait for Brian? We could take like a 3-minute recess, or do you want to? That would be great. Okay.
Madam Chair, maybe we take a lunch break, give them ample time to have a full answer, and we all get.
Oh, he's here. All problems are solved. Thank you, sir. So, Brian, let's just to get you up to speed. Apologies to kind of call you in on this way. We're looking at item 20, and trying to better understand. There's a section of item 20 that allows for there to be an exemption to the requirements of the clear ordinance at the discretion of the Director of Purchasing and Contracting. And I know that was drafted in that way because there were operational concerns about like potential emergencies where some kind of contract might be needed to sign right away. And so Chair Pro Tem Aguirre wanted to better understand why and in what kind of circumstances would we ever need to make these kinds of exemptions? Because I think well, I won't speak for herself. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I'll just add that, well said. I'll just add that if the amendments include making it explicitly clear that we are requiring contractors to abide by what we're asking on
just to clarify, so it's not the amendment. The original drafted ordinance that we received back from staff had section 968B, which allows exceptions by Director of Purchasing Contractor, Director of General Services. Okay.
Yes.
But then what was added by me, or I'm proposing to add, would be to limit and narrow that exemption to say you could only have that exemption based on exempt circumstances.
Yes, and I want to understand what that circumstance would look like for it to merit an exemption, because timing is everything, right? And if we have a situation happening in one of our county buildings that, we're talking about potentially an ice raid, right? What would be the situation where a contractor is not required to abide by this ordinance? Why? What would that look like?
Yeah, through the chair, Chair Pro Tem, I don't know without speaking specifically to our purchasing director. I would think that it would be a life safety item would be the only thing I could think of that would fit in that category. And I don't know if we even have. Oh, I do see. Alan, would you mind coming forward? Our purchasing director? Yeah, he may be able to answer that question.
Through the chair. The public exigency could be used by staff if there were, for example, natural disasters, emergency responses, other situations that required urgent contracting or implementing requirements like that, where a contractor maybe post signs or do other things before they could provide services, could be an impediment to reacting to those types of situations.
So would it be appropriate to say that you're really looking at based on exigent circumstances, emergency circumstances that like present like an immediate threat to public health and safety?
That's how I would interpret that, is something beyond ordinary course of duty, of business.
Okay, is there any specific example that's happened in the last couple of years that you can be like, oh yeah, we would have had to use this kind of waiver?
Over the last several years, we have done emergency contracts where we haven't necessarily had a fully formed contract or amended an existing contract where those types of things could have been useful to limit delays. I can't think of a very specific example off the top of my head, though.
So essentially, I'm so sorry, you're the director of?
Purchasing and contracting.
Purchasing and contracting. So if you were to issue an exemption for whatever hypothetical reason there is, which I'm still trying to understand, what would preclude you from abiding by our ordinance in the future, and how much time would there be between you issuing the exemption and then actually implementing the ordinance?
Oh, yeah. Through the chair. Great question. If we could, normally our interpretation of how we implement any kind of exigency or exemption like that would be after the exigency is passed. If you're continuing on that action, you would implement it as soon as reasonably practicable. So For example, there was an emergency contract, that contract was only for the emergency, you might not, but if it was a modification or something that's going to be ongoing or recovery type things, you would implement it as soon as practical.
Okay.
Any thoughts on how you'd like to proceed?
Well, I mean, I just don't see the need for it. I can't understand the need for it just yet. I don't see it clearly, but I want to hear what everybody else has to say in the sense of if people are open to maybe removing that, I'd be open to that.
I don't particularly feel strongly. I just want to make sure we're not accidentally boxing ourselves into something that we're not aware of.
Well, and that's my concern with moving the amendment forward.
So, but just to be clear, you just want to strike the whole section, not the amendment, right?
Just the
Because
or
what,
by the director of purchasing.
Right, that's not the amendment. That was what was already in the ordinance. The amendment was only to narrow the exception to, the only thing in the amendment was the bold, the based on exigent circumstance. I was trying to narrow that exemption because it was very broad. So I thought, okay, that's too broad. Can we make it clearer that it has to be narrower?
Yeah, but what I'm saying is I feel comfortable with leaving it granted by approval of the Board of Supervisors and removing or by the Director of Purchasing and Contracting.
So you just want to get rid of granted by the Director of Purchasing and Contracting or Director of General Services?
Yep.
Does anyone else have thoughts? Alan, do you have thoughts?
I just say that the exigency type of clause is common in these types of things and that they're seldom used, but they are, so we'll defer to the board, but they're seldom used. It would not be used frivolously.
Perhaps what I could do is modify my motion and instead of directing an amendment to narrow, because what that amendment does is to narrow the exemption to based on exigent circumstances, instead to ask County Council to work with Supervisor Aguirre's office to either strike it or come up with a more narrow framing. Would that work?
I'm open to that, yes.
Okay, I'm happy to do that.
Chair,
Does that work?
We will do that, Chair.
Okay,
Thank you.
fantastic. So then my motion, again, is to move forward with a revision of this ordinance, incorporating all of these amendments as proposed on the screen, subject to two caveats. One, please make sure that it's all legal, County Council. So if we wrote something here that is actually not in accordance with the law, please fix it. We're not tied to every specific word. And second of all, rather than add the clause in bold to narrow the scope of section 968, B, to instead work with Supervisor Aguirre's office to either narrow the scope or strike it as kind of you guys figure out what would work operationally.
Thank you, Chair. We will do that.
Okay. That is the motion. Any additional comments, or do we have a second? Okay, we have a second by, thank you, Alan, appreciate you. We have a second by Vice Chair Montgomery Stepp. Please vote.
Chair Lawson Remer, that motion passes with Supervisor Anderson and Supervisor Desmond voting no, all other supervisors being present and voting aye.
Okay, thank you very much. It is now roughly 12:20. We'll take an hour lunch. I'll see you all back here at 1:20. Thank you very much.